This podcast is part of the Planet Broadcasting Network.
Visit planetbroadcasting.com for more podcasts from our great mates.
This episode is brought to you by Casper Mattresses.
Love Casper mattresses.
We love Casper Mattresses.
Stick around for the Casper mattress ads. I think you'll find it's pretty exciting this week.
Inexplicably, it's about robots.
That's the way the wheels turn, man.
Red hot comic book movie news, shooting up your butthole. The Weekly Planet, the Weekly Planet.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Weekly Planet, where we talk movies and comics and TV shows. My name is James, also known as Mr. Sunday. With me, as always, is my co-host, Nick Mason.
Oh boy, do we have a lot to talk about this week?
We've got so many things to talk about this week.
Good. What I said was a question.
Yes.
So I'm glad you answered the question.
I'm just confirming the thing that you said.
I'm having a lot of trouble with tone this week. So.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So you're up and down?
Yeah, I'm up and down. I'm up and down?
Yeah, perfect. Excellent. I just wanted to start off the show with something that was brought up in the Great Mates group and something that also Claire and I talked about on Suggestible this week. I was a post by one of the members there, Ralston Jones, who lost his wife of 23 years to cancer. She was only 43 years old. It was a really short battle. It was like 15 months. Is that short? It's bad. It's bad.
It's all bad.
It's one of those situations where I don't even know what to say in response to this. It's just a terrible, awful thing that's happened. And by all accounts, and the pictures that he's posted here of her, she would dress up and go to events with him and kind of indulge the geeky side of his personality, which is great. If you
That's all you can hope for, you know?
That's right. Find somebody who loves you enough to do a dumb thing that you enjoy.
That's right.
Or tolerates it.
Absolutely.
Whatever you want to call it. But yeah, she just sounded like an incredible person, and I cannot even comprehend like the pain that you would be in this situation. So we just wanted to give a shout out to him and his family.
Our absolute condolences. And yeah, and fortunately the people in the Great Mates group are
Yeah.
doing what it says in the tin. They're being great mates.
Yeah.
And supporting him through that. So that's really cool.
That's it. So look, again, I don't have a good way to transition out of this. I don't have the words to be like, to make this better in any way, shape or form. But we just want to say that we're thinking of you, and that sucks. It's an awful thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, should we do a hard left turn into talking about the Wonder Woman trailer or something?
Sure, okay, sure.
Because we didn't talk about it last week.
We didn't talk about it last week.
It wasn't out when we...
It wasn't out last week. Wonder Woman 84 trailer. Where are you at with that?
I'm excited about it. I didn't think... Look, when Pedro Pascal was announced as Max Lord, I'm like, I don't see that happening. But I guess I'd never seen Pedro Pascal clean-shaven.
Yeah, right.
To which I say, at this point now, I say, give him every role that Nathan Fillion has aged out of. Because he's got that.
Are they not the same age?
I don't know.
It's quite possible.
Yeah, but he looks like an excellent Max Lord. He's so bronzed and shiny and slimy.
Yeah, absolutely. So was that like it was in the comics for that guy?
Bronze and shiny and slimy.
Bronze and shiny. Wasn't he a brunette man?
He was a brunette man, but I'm okay
I
with
take
this.
it they're doing this as like Trump-esque, a sort of like 80s slick businessman, Wall Street kind of, like Michael Douglas, whatever.
Yeah,
it's kind of
all purpose.
of
Yeah,
all
it's
those.
a sort of melting pot of assholes is what it is really. Because we know that. It's American Psycho.
Yeah.
It's all that sort of
all
that
those
vibe.
things,
Yeah.
And it looks like he has a magic... I've done a trailer breakdown. It looks like he has a magic crystal of sorts.
Yeah.
Also, I said Blue Monday coming in 1986.
Yeah, I know.
Oh my God, Mason.
Look,
why did I say it multiple times?
It came off my YouTube, and I'm like, I wonder if there's things I've missed, and it came out like it had been out for like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And I clicked on it, and it rolled through for like 30 seconds. I'm like, oh no. Do I text him?
It's done at that point.
It's done, exactly. That's right.
Yeah, and I could have edited it out if I didn't say it multiple times in the video, which I did.
You kept coming back to me. Like, I'm excited for this movie, except for the anachronism that Blue Monday came in 1986 and this is 1984. But in your defense...
Yeah, there were re-releases.
And it didn't... I think it's one of those... It was released as a single quite a long time before it came out on an album, I think.
Oh, well, good. Then I was right,
and
I
the
guess,
biggest,
wasn't I?
and it blew up. There was a remix in 1988.
Yes.
So that's the one a lot of people...
Still none of the years that I said were 86.
And obviously there's the version by Orgy, if you remember that one.
I love that
remember
version.
those guys?
Yeah,
remember those
of course
guys?
I do. I remember that one song that I remember of theirs.
Yeah, and nothing else.
And nothing else. Yeah.
They're all in like white leather.
Yes.
Like straight jackets and stuff.
Oh, so
it's
good.
Wild, yeah.
That was like they're like a Prodigy ripoff, sort of, weren't they? Ish.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
It was that Marilyn Manson.
It was that era, Marilyn
era,
Manson, like electronic and then like metal, and they just put it together. I don't think they had a DJ though.
I bet
they had a DJ. Probably had a DJ. Yeah,
You're naive to think that they didn't have a DJ.
That's very
Mason.
true. Yeah.
So there's some new bits in it. One where she's like whipping the lightning. There is moments where she can like grab lightning in the newer comics apparently.
So, yeah.
But I haven't seen that before, which I think's
this is really
cool.
This is good. I think there's some good use of the lasso, which is a point of difference because otherwise it's just sword and shield and punching.
That's they made the effort. They made like the distinction to be like, we don't want to do sword and shield. We want to do more like because it is
bracelets and boomerang head.
I think a lasso
tiara.
can make a really interesting weapon. And even though I didn't like Kingsman, also with Pedro Pascal.
That's right.
There was some awesome lasso stuff in that.
Boy, was there ever.
Recall correctly. So, it just looks really... I mean, I don't know why she's gone back to that for Batman v Superman. She went back to Sword and Shield. Who's to say? Are any of these in the same universe?
I don't know. I think we're going to pretend that doesn't exist anymore. Maybe.
Well, it's technically... They're framing it as it's a standalone thing, and it's not.
Yeah.
Like, it's loose. It's like I think I said this in my video, but it's standalone in the sense of like James Bond, Indiana Jones...
Yeah, it's a soft reboot.
Yeah.
Ignore the stuff you didn't like, and we'll just focus
League.
on the stuff. Yeah, and focus on the stuff you did like. I think we should throw out some cockamamie theories on why Steve Trevor is alive. So there was plenty of speculation beforehand.
Sure.
Was this going to be the real Steve Trevor, or were they going to do it like the Wonder Woman TV series, where in the first season it was Steve Trevor from World War II, and in the second season it's Steve Trevor's grandson in the modern era, who just happens to look exactly the same.
Perfect.
And Wonder Woman has fallen in love with both of them.
Problem solved.
And
I love it.
But in this, they've gone, okay, well, it's original recipe Steve Trevor.
He's back.
But is he back?
I think he's back. Do you think he's not back?
In what sense do you think he's back?
I think a magic crystal brought him back.
I think it's probably a magic crystal.
Yeah.
Okay, so based on the laws of...
So the Flash can time travel. I know they're not going to do that, but...
Yeah, based on the laws of...
Crystals.
Trailer making and crystals. There's a scene where... Dr. Minerva, played by Kristen Wiig, she's in a lab and she's looking kind of regretful or torn about something.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to Steve Trevor's watch from World War I.
Yeah, and
then it cuts to Steve Trevor being alive again.
Yeah.
So I think...
And the watch is like shaking.
Yeah, so I think... And the magic crystal, it could be any number of things. It could be the Whirlagog, which is the time traveling. It's one of the many time traveling devices in the DC universe.
Excellent.
But it could also be an Eclipso crystal, which is basically there's 1,000 of them in the world, and if you touch one, you get possessed by Eclipso. He's a real mean dude, but he can create illusions and stuff.
That's quite a lot of crystals in the world.
It was a really big diamond. It was like a big black diamond, and then it got chipped into 1,000 pieces, I think.
So you think it might be that? It might be an illusion.
Well, what I think it is, my hot tip is...
Hot tip.
They've used the
quick tip.
Yeah, the hot quick tip. We were going to reconvene Hot Quick News this week just to talk about the Wonder Woman trailer. We ran out of time, so...
Too hot.
Too hot. I think that he's back and he's real, so he's not like a hologram or anything like that.
Yeah.
But he might even be flesh and blood, but I think he's being held together with magic.
Right.
Because there's a scene later on in it where he's all sweaty and disheveled, and he's like, "No, Wonder Woman, you go save the world.
I'm too sweaty.
I'm too sweaty," which I think is where the magic is wearing off and he's disintegrating.
Which is why he isn't in Batman v Superman if they are connected.
Exactly, because he has to. I mean, logically, he has to die again. I think they're using the crystal and his watch with the laws of comic book science.
Yep.
They're using the love and the energy emanating from his watch, which is it represents him and Wonder Woman together, and they're using some sort of empathic energy matrix magic stuff.
Because he is physical as well, because you see him hit somebody.
Yeah, exactly.
So I was like, maybe it's like a hologrammy thing.
Yeah, but I think they're gonna use that and the crystal, and Dr. Minerva's gonna be part of that, and she's regretting it, but they're using it to bring him back for some reason.
Yeah.
And then the power's gonna...
Maybe because he in the comics, you've mentioned this before, he's financed the Justice League before,
Maxwell
or a
Lord,
version of it. So maybe he's brought him back to
lure her in
be
somehow.
like, what do you think of this? And she's like, I love kissing this dude. And he's like, I know.
Yes, we know. We've seen that one photo you were in, and we could feel the powerful energy coming off it. So we're putting that in the furnace to put him back together, whatever this thing we're building. We don't see any... They release some character posters, and we get Kristen Wiig as Dr. Minerva, and she's got like a cheetah print outfit on.
You don't think they're going to do full cat?
I don't know. Maybe at the end. I'm not sure. But... I mean, maybe that magic crystal can do all kinds of stuff. But she has that kind of glow up vibe of like Iron Man 3.
Yes.
Remember the Guy Pearce's
I
character?
that guy.
That very specific Guy Pearce.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm just an awful nerd. And then he's like, now I'm a handsome nerd.
I'm a handsome nerd.
I've got a full back tattoo. Not going to regret that. No, sir.
You think the fire would get rid of it? 'Cause
Yeah.
if you can grow an arm back, you think the tattoo wouldn't stick.
Yeah, right.
Is all I'm saying, Guy Pearce.
Yeah.
They didn't think about that
They
movie.
didn't think about it at all. What else do we have in the trailer? We have what it might be the invisible jet, or it might just be a regular jet.
I think it's the invisible jet.
Who do you think built the invisible jet?
It's probably just army tech.
Oh, yeah, you think so? Okay.
Yeah. I don't think they're going to do with the magic enchantment stuff.
Right.
Then again, you know what I also think? I think they're going to bring back Steve Rogers completely at the end.
Steve Rogers.
Yeah, Steve.
Captain America.
I probably said that in the trailer as well.
Old
but-
man Steve
Old
Rogers?
man Steve Rogers.
Wow.
No, I think they're going to bring back Steve Trevor. And
For good.
For good.
And then he's going to leave?
No, I don't think it matters because even though he's not in Batman v Superman and Justice League, it doesn't really matter.
Well, I guess that's true,
because
yeah.
she like shoves Ben Affleck at one point.
Well, that's a good point. Like, it could be because
you can't kill him again.
Well,
is
that's
what
true.
I'm saying.
He's literally died once. So the idea that it would become you're right that it could become a running gag that now just bring him back for Wonder Woman 95 and then he dies again kind of thing. So it could be that in this instance
he has to stop the launch of Windows 95.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. No, he's got to convince Weezer to allow them to put the Buddy Holly video clip on the Encarta 95 CD.
No, he wants to stop Matthew Perry and Jennifer Aniston explaining the new Windows.
I don't think that's real. I think
Is that not real?
I think that was made up by the internet years later.
Have you not seen that video though?
I don't think
it exists.
Does it?
Yeah, of them explaining it.
Oh, okay,
it's
right.
real.
All right, okay
I mean,
then.
maybe it was a parody at the time.
Maybe, I
but
don't
it's
know.
a real video.
Okay,
I've
then.
seen it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe a different thing from the 90s.
Maybe a different thing from the 90s.
But what I'm saying is that maybe you're right in the sense that if they just kill him again, it's a dumb joke. But what if
What if they wanted to kill the DJ from Orgy?
right?
Sorry, go on.
Oasis.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
Yeah, exactly. Do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
The song, do you know
Song
what
Oasis,
I mean?
yes.
Maybe what happens is he gets brought back and then she betrays him some way and then he's like, well, we've got to be apart forever now. And then she's like, ooh, I've made a big mistake. And that's why she's sad about it.
Yeah. It's all good stuff.
Yeah. Also, she's wearing the Screaming Chicken suit from Kingdom Come.
Oh, I love it. I love the scream. Apparently, because I was like, this must be like a CGI thing. Apparently, it's not. Apparently, they did a bunch of this practical. I still think there's a very good chance that they redid it as they often do. But it looks good.
Yeah, well,
I know it's a dumb suit, but I like it.
I mean, there's no laws for movie studios to say what they did and did not practically do.
Exactly.
You know, so they could be like, yeah, it's real, but on set it's like a styrofoam.
Yeah.
It's been spray painted gold.
Exactly.
And then they've CGI'd over the top. I wonder
It's hard to fight in that thing as well.
Yeah, because because it
Stunt, stuff.
Yeah, it originally appeared in Kingdom Come, and it is kind of like her. You know, in the future, her and Batman and some other heroes have they've all armored up because the future is much, much worse.
Like that time in Transformers 2 when Optimus Prime got wings briefly.
That's right. Yeah. And then in Transformers possibly 4 or 5, he flew into space. He was just like, I've got a jetpack now. Bye, everyone. I'm flying into space. Do you remember that?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. Didn't get it very far,
I'm going to
though.
find the DJ from the band Orgy. I'm going to rescue him. The whole universe, as always, hinges on whether or not the DJ from Orgy exists.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
Does it matter?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I was wondering because in this, I'm wondering if we see in the trailer like the wings sort of dissolve a little bit.
Yeah,
I'm wondering are they temporary or can she do that all the time?
Yeah, right.
Or,
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Well, we'll find out when she fights a big villain in the sky with smoke and lightning or whatever.
That's right, exactly.
Do you think she's going to fight Cheetah at the end or she's going to fight like a god in the sky again?
Oh, it depends.
Because that doesn't look like a cheetah showdown
No, that's
necessarily.
true. No. Let me just look up. I mean, he might fight a giant Maxwell Lord.
Yeah. Like he's a big smoke monster or
Yeah,
whatever.
exactly. Well, in some instances, he's called Lord Havoc. If you can imagine, there's the second image result
my
is, of
goodness.
course,
Yeah,
him
yeah.
surrounded by smoke and lightning.
Perfect.
So,
Well, that's all I want.
yeah, exactly. So maybe that, or maybe nothing.
Maybe
Maybe he just
nothing.
beats a businessman. Maybe she just beats a businessman to death.
Please.
A
if you
slick
could.
businessman.
I'm looking forward to this a lot. They pushed it back to make it a summer release in the US at
Yeah,
least.
right,
And the Northern Hemisphere.
Does that mean more competition or less competition?
Well, otherwise it would have gone up against... It would have come out now. Would have come out this week.
Oh, right,
So it would have
okay.
been Star Wars Jumanji.
Yeah, so it would have had a week.
Yeah.
Well,
It
would-
probably still do well.
Yeah, but it would have done fine against Jumanji, I think. But
The last Jumanji did really well.
yeah, right.
So-
Well, it would have been crushed by Jumanji then.
Yeah, but I think it's got more of a clear run.
Yeah, for sure. Mhm.
So
Yes.
yeah, I like the look of it. I'm really looking forward to it, genuinely. And I really like her as Wonder Woman. And What's one of the definitive things in that universe that I can say that works. Like that really
Yeah,
works.
right.
It's not like I feel like a lot of that stuff is like, well, I like the Ben Affleck suit, but I don't like the way he murders people with a gun and whatever. Like you can point at that and go,
God, you're so
"That's
picky,
right,"
aren't you?
yeah.
Just shovel it all into your mouth. Just take big spoonfuls of it and just nom 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 nom.
I love it.
You said this week there was an image released by Zack Snyder. Speaking
Yes.
of the Batman and Superman,
I made you look at it.
yes, it looks just like a promotional image.
Looks like a Photoshop. Or
yeah, it looks like a promotional image of Superman, and they've just done the lasso tool around his suit, and they've just made it black and white.
perfect.
It's perfect.
So I thought they'd done it. Like when it came out, I'm like, they must have at some point done this. I think I even maybe did a video on it that they cut it out because there were rumors of it.
And I think Henry Cavill's maybe his Instagram
Well,
page.
he tweeted it exactly. There was
he
all these
released.
hints.
It was maybe was it a close up of the
Yeah.
Superman chest logo, and it was grayscale,
Yeah.
right?
Or it might have been even just the suit itself and not
Yeah,
the
right.
logo. But then there was like, well, I guess that was maybe just a black and white image or whatever. But
Yeah, that's how they get us. We're
so,
easily
like,
tricked.
I mean, they didn't do the mullet. I'm not happy about that.
No,
But
right?
It's still.
yes.
I mean, because it's the only time you do it, really, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What they should have done is they should have been like, we got to bring him back from the dead, but the only way we can do it is put big electrical paddles on the sides of his head, but not on the back. We're going to give him a real charge on the sides and nothing on the back.
So I realized something about this though. This
Yes.
is our new like. Remember we started the show and being like, Batman, Superman's coming out at some point. Like
Yes.
that was what we.
I
built
remember.
That was what we built the show on.
When is it going to come out?
Oh, Mason. but I feel like this is the new that because we talk about this version of Justice League every
The
week.
Snyder Cut, yes.
Yeah. And you actually we were talking about this before the show, and you mentioned someone who made a video about.
Oh, if you don't follow Folding Ideas on YouTube, it's a guy named Dan Olson, and he does a lot of videos about movies and a lot about film editing.
Yes.
And so he's right in there with he did a video this week. It's maybe I think it might even be about 40 minutes. It's about the Snyder Cut and whether it does or does not exist, and like the various financial and creative and you know executive decision reasons it may or may not
Yes.
exist, and what form it may exist in real life and stuff like that.
And the original version that he made, he didn't even shoot. And
Yeah,
all
and
that
like
kind of
what
stuff.
what's
So that part that doesn't even exist at all. Like that version.
yeah,
Yeah.
right, But suppose there is allegedly like an unedited work print, I think, and it's 214 minutes or something like that. So that if Zack Snyder's Instagram or not if Zack Snyder's Vero account is to be believed, and why wouldn't be? There's a hard drive out there or
Yep.
some film canisters with a very, very long version.
3.5 hours.
But whether any of it is finished,
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about this last week
Yeah,
or
yeah,
the
we
week
did,
before.
yeah.
You know that the Snyder Cut as originally envisioned is probably not finished, and whether he is going to finance it himself to finish it, or someone at Warner Brothers is going to pay to finish it.
Yeah, they still have to green light it regardless. Because even if
Yeah,
he
right.
finishes it, he can't
Yeah.
just put it out.
Well, exactly. And
Yeah.
if you release if you commercially release a work print, then you might have to pay all like the rotoscope artists and the
right.
VFX guys again, because you're showing their work, but it's not finished. And
Yeah, right,
who
okay.
knows? Anyway, people should, if you want a much better explanation of this whole
No,
situation.
I don't, Mason.
Okay, then stay away from the Folding Ideas video about it.
You've been warned.
That's right.
Yeah, look, as we've talked about for the past 6 weeks.
Would you watch it though?
Of course I would.
Yeah.
At this, I don't care. I don't care at all.
Yeah.
Like whether it comes out, but it
Yeah.
just needs to happen.
Yeah.
Like I'll be lying if I said I wasn't curious. Of course I am.
Yeah.
But it's never going to go away. So just release it so we can be done with it.
Right. And then we can, but here's the thing: I don't think we ever will be done with it, because I think.
Because then it's not the actual version, and they didn't finish it
Well, here's the
properly.
thing. Okay, hypothetically speaking, this isn't in the Folding Ideas video, but this is the thought that I had. Let's say, hypothetically speaking, it's released and it isn't finished. Like it's like that Wolverine Origins movie that was
Yeah.
released. You know, where
one that was leaked.
it was leaked by
it
it was the Sony hack, and you're like,
was Fox.
oh, okay, right,
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
doesn't.
Right, and there's scenes where it's just people against green screens, or it's just like they've just sort of drawn in his claws and they're not finished
Yeah.
and all this sort of stuff. And if it's a version like that, there's going to be a lot of footage of just people standing around in rubber suits and mocap suits in front of green boxes and delivering dialogue.
Yeah.
And I feel like for people who are super fans of Zack Snyder, they're going to be like, well, this is deep and gritty and real,
Yeah.
and the performances sell it. And if you think it's bad, it's just because you are being tricked by the fact that it's unfinished.
Okay,
like
right.
you can't look beyond the superficial
That's true, I
and
can't.
say that it's good because
That's
it
me.
is good. So
Me all over.
I think if that version is released, the debate will not end.
Yeah.
Because people will still be like, well, obviously the dialogue is genius and the performances are genius and everything about this is great, but you just see rubber suits. And,
Yeah.
and I think the joke has proven that the superhero movie should be more than rubber suits.
What would be interesting about that though, if they do release that version, then people can fix it.
Oh, they'll
People
do it
can
on their
fix
own,
it in real
yeah.
life. So
That's true.
I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing.
Yeah, people might like...
And
they
people
might-
will fix it.
Yeah, they'll take a scene. People
Yeah.
might take a scene each, or somebody might be like, I'm going to take a year of my life and
waste it.
waste it on this to do the entire movie on my own. Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, let's talk about DC movies some more though, Mason,
Okay.
because there's some release dates that
Oh.
that version of Comic-Con that was last week, whatever it was.
Okay, cool. So Snyder Cut, when's that coming out?
It's not at this point, but probably for HBO if any time
right,
soon, I'd imagine. I still think it's going to happen at some point. Anyway, Shazam 2 is April 2nd, 2022,
Okay.
which is just a few months after Black Adam, which got a release date of December 21st, 2021.
Oh.
So that movie was starring The Rock, and presumably at the end, the Shazam will be like, but I'm here with my family, and I'm eating a pizza on the couch. Shazam stuff, you know what I mean? With my family.
Wait. So has Black Adam shown up at Shazam's house?
Yeah.
So you're saying
Black Adam gets-
Shazam's brought his entire family to Black Adam's lair, and he's
yes.
brought a couch and he's had a pizza
Yeah, that's
delivered.
right. He opens his pyramid.
Yeah, right.
He rolls a big rock back, and
Yep.
Shazam's already there. He's got a big gulp and a pizza, and he's like, "Ooh."
Nice.
And then it's the end.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, cool.
And they
He's on a
punch for a bit.
skateboard and he's got a Discman on.
That's right.
So he's holding a sports.
They're making a viral video.
They're making a viral video. Okay. And that starts the beef.
That starts the beef.
Where's the beef?
Where?
It's in Black Adam's pyramid.
Perfect. And then after that, we're going to get the Flash.
What's the origin of the term "Where's the beef"?
I
Must
think
be
it was
an
like
ad.
a campaign.
Okay.
It wasn't here.
No, it was
Because we had like
American, right?
Sam Neill being like, "Eat meat. What are you, gay?" Like that was the Australian version of,
Yeah, right.
of eating meat. Do you remember those ads?
Sam Kekovich?
No, it was Sam Neill used to do it. He's like, beef grows your brain.
Oh, Sam Neill. Right.
Yeah,
yes.
don't say Sam
I think you
Neill.
might have said Sam Newman.
Oh, well,
doesn't matter.
that is something Sam Neill
Look,
would say.
one of Australia or New Zealand's own Sams.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, okay, I remember those.
One's obviously better than the other.
Yeah, Okay, so
Yeah,
Black
it was
Adam's...
like shaming people into eating meat.
Yeah, I
So
remember that.
whatever it was,
Yeah, okay, so Black Adam's coming out.
Yeah.
He's going to have a beef
Yep.
with Shazam
Where is the beef?
2. And then hopefully Shazam 2 is just Black Adam and Shazam just throwing each other through buildings.
That's
for
exactly
2
what
hours.
it will be, because the Black Adam will probably do well because it's a rock vehicle and it's coming out at
Yeah.
probably a good time. I think it's up against an Avatar film, but I wouldn't worry too much about that. And then, but you never know. I shouldn't say that. You never
Right.
know. You really don't know. But then,
Oh, side note, Tim Saxby on the Great Mates, Fun Broadcasting Great Mates group, put up a thread earlier in the week. Apparently many episodes ago, we said that we would like to go through our old episodes, find everything we got wrong and talk about it. And we would do that if only we had a list of all the things we got wrong. So Tim has taken it upon himself
Oh,
to
Tim, why
give us
did
a
you do
nice,
it?
a very nicely laid out list of all the things we've gotten right. He's going through episodes. I think he's done like 50 episodes.
Oh my
And it's
God.
all our predictions we've gotten wrong. So at some point we'll do an episode, I would imagine, based on all the stuff we got wrong. We can have a fun chat about it. And we won't get depressed. Don't even worry about it. We won't.
and we're not going to do the opposite, because every now and then people were like, "Oh my God, you got this right," but like we just flipping coins here, man.
Right.
We don't know. we just we
just
really
don't
don't know. Yeah. No. So what I was going to say is,
Yes.
Black Adam,
Yep.
The Rock. It's a big movie, and then they do the crossover. So even though Shazam didn't do well, people liked it. I did okay.
Yeah, right,
And then off the back of Black Adam, then you combine those things and you make a bigger movie than both.
Yeah, for sure.
Good idea. Then in July 1st of 2022, and I believe this one
What
happens.
if they call it Black Adam versus Shazam: Dawn of Justice?
Yeah, that would be fun.
That'd be fun,
They
right?
should totally do that.
Yeah.
The Flash is coming out.
Big gulp of justice.
Big, nice. That's really good.
Yeah.
It's just in a 7-Eleven car park.
Yes.
The whole thing. It's Clerks. They
Yeah.
just make Clerks, but it's
And they can't access their powers, so it's just The Rock punching a teenage boy. Well, his friend hits him with his crutch.
perfect. So the Flash is in July of 2022. The guy,
Is it?
Yeah. Well,
Is it?
Andy Machete's doing it. He did It.
Okay.
And he's in with Warner Brothers, and they seem to like him at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is as good a shot as any.
All right, cool. Is that the tagline?
I don't know.
This is as good a shot as any.
Yeah, put that in your predictions that I got wrong.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
So that's going to happen is what you're saying.
I don't know.
Okay.
It's probably
You have to
50-50.
make a stance.
Yeah, I think this one will happen.
Okay, right.
I think this is it, though. Like, if they're not doing it now, they're going to scrap the Ezra Miller version. It's been too long.
I think you'll find his previous movie was it.
Ezra Miller.
No.
Add that to the list of things Mason
Machete.
said.
His previous movie was in fact
you're
it.
very good.
Yep.
Yeah, but I think otherwise it's too long. It's been
What
too
a
long.
waste of a good suit. Remember the suit? Remember the Flash suit?
Is it a good suit?
I think it is, yeah. Imagine it not flailing.
I can't. That's all
Imagine
I
it's
can
not
say.
rubbery arms and legs.
I won't imagine that.
Okay, all right.
Speaking of release dates, though, The Matrix 4 is dated of May of 2021. It's going to go up against John Wick 4.
Huh.
It's a Keanu off.
Yes, it is. Do you think Keanu has any say in that?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think
I
so.
think he doesn't care. I think
That's
he's
probably
just,
true, yeah.
he's just happy to be photographed at a bus stop giving
Yeah.
an old lady $1 or whatever,
Yeah, right.
whatever he's up to. Or happy not to have that happen.
Yeah,
And just
for
do
sure.
good things in his life.
Yeah.
So that's going to be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Only one of the Wachowskis is, of course, directing that. And Mortal Kombat has been shifted up 6 months to January of 2021, which could either be a good or a bad thing because January is generally the dumping ground of crap.
Oh, I see.
But-
Right.
That has in the last few years, there's been some exceptions to that. So this is probably too far out to be like, this is going to be terrible.
Is
at this
Mortal
point.
Kombat currently filming?
Yes,
It must be,
it
okay.
is, yeah.
Well, I know some people in Adelaide. Actually get them to sneak their way onto the set and see what they can do. Become the stars of the movie
Come
Mortal
and
Kombat.
then tell
you
us
know?
all about it. Come
Yeah.
on this show.
That's right.
Yeah. And leak us a work print.
If they could.
Love
yeah.
to see that, yeah. So that's really good stuff. I'm looking forward to the new Mortal Kombat, actually.
Me too.
Yeah. Do you Ghostbusters, Mason?
I do Ghostbusters.
Do you Ghostbusters Afterlife?
I Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Do you like a universe which is an extension, a sequel, if you will, to the first two Ghostbusters movie and that video game, which also had the original cast? It's 30 years on, but nobody remembers when there was 1 million ghosts in New York for
Right.
some reason. You don't
Yeah.
tell people that? That's all I would talk about. If there were 1 million ghosts one time,
Yeah, but you know what?
it's New York and it's crazy.
It's crazy out there. But also I feel like, you know,
I mean, the news media cycle,
yeah.
mate.
Look, if I've learned anything from our friends over at the podcast Do Go On,
Sure.
a lot of weird incidents happen. And then if somebody were like, hey, do you remember the Great Emu War? I'd be like, that
What?
surely didn't happen.
Yeah, I
but
know.
it did happen,
Yeah.
right?
There's a
The
big
army
difference-
lost against a bunch of emus. So
They should have gone at him with a wheat thresher.
Yeah,
Doesn't
right.
make any sense. You can't shoot an emu in the head. They got tiny
little heads, exactly,
And
yeah.
even if you did it, then they got small, like even smaller
probably
brains.
keep going like a chicken.
Ridiculous.
You know?
If you got a wheat thrasher and just went through them,
Yeah.
that's how I would have won the emu war. Or
There
a
you go.
scythe and you just aim at go for the legs.
Yeah.
I've thought about this a lot.
You're a tactical genius on the level of General Patton. And it's a shame you weren't alive when the Great Emu War was happening.
I would not
Anyway,
have involved myself.
What I'm saying is that if somebody were like, hey, you remember the ghost invasion of New York in the 80s? You'd be like, I can't be sure that didn't happen. You know what I mean? And I think people would be like, a bunch of unexplained phenomenon and a bunch of weird carny con men showed up in New York
Yeah.
and released... Because if you remember Ghostbusters 2, they were
Yeah,
like...
people were over it by then, weren't they?
Yeah, they were like, well, it was just probably gas leaks and hallucinogenic chemicals in the water, and these guys were just a bunch of frauds or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm
Just that
yeah,
again.
That again, I guess. Yeah.
And a common criticism of this is, first of all, people seem to like it much more already than the last
Is the
one.
first criticism that it doesn't look like a comedy?
Yes.
Yeah.
But
It looks like an episode of Stranger
yes.
Things.
Yes. But I'll say
With
that
one of the stars of Stranger Things. in it.
correct. But I think
Yes.
I think there's going to be comedy in this.
Yes.
100%.
Because Paul Rudd's in it.
Paul Rudd's in it. But I think it's also a good idea to take it out of New York and do a sequel in a different setting. That's even though it's connected, but with a different cast like this.
Yeah, right.
I think it's a smart way to do it, as opposed to just trying to do it again in New York. And you get
Yeah,
a
fair
different.
enough,
I'm not
yeah.
saying it's going to be good.
Uh-huh.
I think it's going to be. It could be.
Yeah.
Could be all right. It's got a lot of.
You have to make a stand.
I think I'm going to like it.
I think I'm going to like it, and it's going to be good.
Yeah. So, and it's the son of the director who directed the first one as well.
There you
Not
go.
that necessarily means anything, because talent isn't passed down through sperm necessarily.
That's correct, yes.
It's a myth. But so, I liked it. I liked the trailer. And
Yeah. So the Ecto one having a gunner's seat,
I love it.
is that from the cartoon maybe? Because I don't think it was in
Was
Ghostbusters
it in the
2.
real? Was it in the real
That's
Ghostbusters?
what I'm talking about,
No,
yeah.
the real Ghostbusters. Was it in that?
That's the cartoon.
No, but there's the other Ghostbusters cartoon, which is like a spin-off of the show, of that show that was called Ghostbusters.
Yeah, that's the Ghostbusters.
And that's with the gorilla in it.
Yeah, that's Ghostbusters. I'm talking about the real Ghostbusters.
So the real Ghostbusters was actually the movie version of Ghostbusters.
No,
Cartoon. Well,
okay.
not exactly, but it's that. It's got Slimer. It's the one with
Don't
Slimer.
shut up for a
You
second.
shut up.
There's 2 Ghostbusters cartoons.
I know.
When I was a kid, there were 2 Ghostbusters cartoons, right? There was the one you're talking about, Ghostbusters,
Yes.
which was they had a haunted car and a gorilla and whatever. And then there was the real Ghostbusters, which was a sequel of sorts to the Ghostbusters movies.
But they all looked different.
They all looked different just to distinguish them. And
Egon was blonde.
Egon was blonde, and
He
that
had
was
that toy where his eyes would pop out.
yeah. And so basically,
That's the one with Slimer.
that's the one with Slimer, and then that later became Slimer and the real Ghostbusters because Slime was very popular with kids. And then there was, I think, then there was like one called Extreme Ghostbusters. But anyway,
Yeah.
I'm thinking that maybe in the real Ghostbusters there was like a gunner seat in the Ecto
Okay.
one. Yeah, but in the cartoon, the origin of the name The Real Ghostbusters is that after the events of Ghostbusters 2,
Yes.
they throw away their old jumpsuits and they get inhabited by ghosts. So there were like Ghostbuster ghosts wandering around, and they have to bust those Ghostbusters. So then to distinguish themselves from those Ghostbusters, they call themselves The Real Ghostbusters.
So people are thinking that these Ghostbusters
are the real Ghostbusters. Yeah. But
Even
so
though they're
there's
clearly just
an
ghosts.
in-universe explanation as to why they're called the real Ghostbusters.
But in reality, that was just to distinguish it from the show with the gorilla in the van.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I remember watching that gorilla in the van one and being like, "Excuse me, what
What is this?
What is happening?
What is this?
And that's based off a show from the 60s or 70s, is that
Yeah,
right?
or a comic book or something. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I think it was a live action thing. Anyway, I'm looking forward to this.
Me too.
Do you know what some people aren't looking forward to?
Oh, no.
The people who worked on The Lion King and also the Sonic redesign.
What they're not looking forward to is the unemployment line.
That's right. 800 employees were let go from MPC, a studio in Vancouver.
Mm-hmm.
There was a bunch of back and forth about it, but there was some Reddit posts by somebody who worked there. But this is just kind of highlights the situation that with VFX artists are kind of underpaid and overworked
Yeah,
and
and
tossed aside. Like it's the Life of Pi guys were
Yeah. I'm assuming The Lion King did well, right?
made $1 billion.
Made $1 billion. But, and these guys, this in essence, and you'll read from it in a second, but it's that the studio just wasn't, they haven't paid them yet.
Well, that's part of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
And they did a bunch of overtime. So we put in extreme hours wrapping 2 infamous projects in the last couple of months. We've done multiple weeks without a day off, regular 17+ hour shifts to the point of most of us are seriously sleep deprived and still suffering. This person later updated and said,
Just kidding.
no, well, they said
I love Disney.
Very rarely people were doing less than 10 hours a day. And if you wanted to leave after 8 hours, you had to get permission to go home. And if you didn't want to work overtime at the weekend, you had to give a satisfactory reason as why you couldn't, or they'd label it as an unauthorized absence. So it says, we've worked really hard to get...
All right, language.
Language
person on Reddit who lost your job.
This is how it works. I'll
All right.
bleep it. I'll bleep it if you want, Mason.
you
if
could.
it makes you feel better.
Could you bleep it with a honk? Thank you. Put that in.
To get this work.
That'll be
out.
funny. That'll be funny for the listeners. And once they hear the context, they'll hear the
It'll be even
and
funnier.
then we're all gonna laugh.
We're gonna have a great time.
Tomorrow I'm gonna just put the episode on and just listen to that bit and laugh and laugh. Anyway, continue.
Sorry, we worked really hard to. I did that one live to get this work out the door for the MPC. And I'm genuinely ashamed that they are happier prioritizing their staff margins and tax incentives over the insane talent and commitment of hundreds of dedicated VFX artists in Vancouver. I honestly feel insulted. Like I've given MPC my all, and in return they've given me the finger. Good luck to all the insanely talented artists who are currently employed in other locations. Yeah, because they do have other branches.
Okay, right.
Because the second another location becomes more attractive, you could be the next on the chopping block.
Ooh,
so
boy.
yeah. Also says that look, I can't speak for everybody, but yeah, this is this person's experience. So the same thing happened with, remember Life of Pi? They won an Oscar.
Yeah, right.
For their amazing, stunning, breathtaking CGI tiger and
Haven't seen
everything else. It's mostly that movie is mostly CGI and a boy. Like
Okay,
that's the
sure.
way that movie works.
Uh-huh.
But it's fine. It's I don't mind it. I'm not a huge fan, but it looks incredible. Like it's an incredible looking
right.
film. And when they were receiving their Academy Award and they were trying to highlight, do you know about this? So they were highlighting the industry and how they were how it's struggling with VFX work. How often these people get unrepresented.
Directly behind the award giving, the members of the VFX team were being shot. They were being lined up against the wall and all shot.
Well, what actually started happening is they got the playoff music as they started to, and people couldn't really hear them because the music started up as they were like, and we just wanted to give a shout out to, and then the music kicked in.
Oh,
and,
wow. Okay,
so
right.
That's kind of indicative
Yeah,
of this kind of situation. I think it's just, I mean, people know this obviously, but it's ridiculous when a movie like The Lion King, it doesn't even matter if it makes $1 billion. You should be paid for your work. That's the reality of it. Because it's the same
and in a timely fashion, so
Yeah.
you can pay your bills.
Exactly, and it's the same with like crunch periods in video games. It's just expected that these people,
Yeah,
because
right.
it's like, it's a good job and you should be happy to be doing it or whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You're still doing a job. And, you know, it doesn't matter if you're in the industry that you love. You don't love it if you're there 17 hours a day. It's insane.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, what are we going to do about it? Nothing. Just thought I'd just bring it up anyway.
Oh, that reminds me. Do I have to be here for 17 hours
Yeah,
today?
you do, Mason.
Oh, but I've been doing it for 6 days in a row.
It's different. You love it. Do you love it or not?
We just do the podcast over and over again, and you pick the best one. I don't understand.
You should be grateful for doing
Yeah.
something you love.
That's true. Best industry in the world, podcast industry.
Next week's episode, and of course this week, we're getting The Rise of Skywalker. That kind of
right.
snuck up, didn't it?
Yeah,
Are you excited?
I am excited.
I'm too.
Yeah.
I'm genuine. I'm curious about what way it's going to go. The premiere, I think, is on Monday or Tuesday. There's already leaks out there. I would say stay off the internet.
Oh, yeah,
If
right.
you don't want to know anything because there's all sorts of spoilers floating about, which I've mostly, I think, avoided so far. And I will be. I'm not going to be on the internet anyway because I don't really want to know anything.
And you don't believe in the internet.
And I don't believe in the internet or ghosts.
What's it ever done for you, the internet?
Not a single darn thing.
Exactly.
Mason.
Exactly.
Yeah. So anyway, I wanted to though talk about. There's been a bunch of interviews this week, and everybody's excited in the process and whatever. And you see, there's been talk now. The Last Jedi, that stuff has reared up again because John Boyega was like, I didn't agree with some of the stuff in that movie.
Oh, I see.
And,
Right.
And suddenly it's like
right.
it's a whole thing of like, well, everybody hates it, and the stars hated it, and even J.J. Abrams said that fans don't necessarily want the genre twisted on its head or whatever, and. I don't know. I think some of those things are taken out of context. Maybe they genuinely don't like the movie. I don't know.
Yep.
We're still talking about The Last Jedi. It's
We
really-
sure are.
it's
We'll
really
never stop
exciting.
talking about it.
Yeah. Anyway, I didn't mean to get into any of that because what I wanted to talk about was J.J. Abrams. We'll do a Star Wars one next week. And
Okay, cool.
Oh, sorry, we've got a
Now
caravan.
let's do a Star Wars movie. Star Wars
We haven't
episode
seen
this
it
week.
yet.
Okay.
Also, the caravan of garbage this week is that comic about the Emperor coming back from the dead.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Really, Ben's leading that at the moment. Eric did some
nice.
animations looking really good. Anyway, J.J. Abrams mentioned in relation to the original trilogy that the changes that were made was, I guess, what George Lucas wanted in the sense that Disney might not be able to release the original theatrical versions because it seems to be some kind of clause in there that he kind of hints at.
Oh, he
that
snuck
they
in a
can't.
clause.
So people are yelling at Disney for not doing this thing.
Right.
But it seems very possible.
How did anyone miss that?
I don't think they missed it. I think
Right,
it was
okay.
just a condition.
Okay,
I don't
right,
think they missed
uh-huh.
it at all. I
Okay.
think it was just like, this is the version.
So wait, what is the condition in Lucas's contract with Disney when he sold them the Star Wars franchise? Is he said you can never release the original theatrical versions?
Maybe. It seems
Okay,
that
right.
way, yeah.
Okay, so the non-CGI'd versions, the ones where no one says McClunky at any point.
Yes.
Huh.
It says, I guess that's what George Lucas wanted, and that's what he did, and so I respect that, although I feel there is something about the original theatrical version that was, for many people, the thing they loved about it.
It's the best version.
Yes.
in my opinion.
Well, I think there's some... we did a video. I think there are some good changes. I think you can tweak and clean up some stuff that just looks better in general. But I think we've talked about it.
Yeah, we have talked about it, and we'll continue to talk about it forevermore. I think the original versions are the best because some of it looks kind of dumb.
Yeah. No, well, that's not incorrect. But anyway, Star Wars next week and Star Wars Forever, am I right?
Star Wars forever! I'm reinvigorated for Star Wars. You know why? Because we're going to watch Star Wars this week, then we're going to talk about Star Wars next week, and then we'll be able to stop talking about Star Wars for like maybe a week. We get a week off.
No, we
get a week off for the holidays.
We do actually generally get a week off, don't
Yeah,
we?
uh-huh.
We do. Casper mattresses.
I've heard about them.
Yeah. I know you've not only heard about them, you've felt about them.
Oh, also that too, yes. I enjoy
Yes.
that as well, also, yes.
Because they're designed by humans for humans, and you can sleep on them, obviously.
Nice.
I know.
So they know what we want.
They know what we want.
Some designers of mattresses are like, what do humans want? Murder
No,
and killing.
They've made the wrong mattress.
Don't want that.
They've made a murder robot of some
what?
description. You can't
Exactly.
sleep on that.
Can't sleep on that.
You can barely trust it, let alone sleep on
and
it.
the prices are crazy. Bad, but Casper, they know what we want.
They
sleeping,
do.
comfortable sleeping at an affordable price.
You know it, because Casper products are cleverly designed to mimic human curves, providing supportive comfort for all kinds of bodies. You spend 1/3 of your life sleeping, so you should be comfortable. Especially if the robots are going to take over, you need your rest.
Absolutely you do. And they only sleep 10 minutes a night on some sort of charging machine. You know?
Yeah.
They don't get it.
They don't get it. The experts at Casper work tirelessly to make a quality sleep surface that cradles your natural geometry in all the right places.
They would be tireless because the robots are coming. They don't have time.
The original Casper mattress combines multiple supportive memory foams for a quality sleep surface with the right amount of both sink and bounce. The breathable design helps you sleep cool and regulate your body temperature throughout the night. And with over 20,000 reviews and an average of 4.8 stars across Casper, Amazon, and Google, Casper is fast becoming the internet's, that's the New Zealand internet.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Favorite mattress.
And you want a mattress that regulates your temperature, you know why? Thermal vision.
Exactly.
Robots. They're
That's
coming
so
to get
true.
You gotta watch out.
Mason, obviously you enjoy sleeping on a Casper mattress. Obviously
Yeah.
you enjoy the way they're delivered straight to your door and the unboxing experience.
Sparoing.
Sparoing. It's not a big deal, is it?
What do you
I
mean?
mean, it's a big deal like
Yeah.
in terms of like what an amazing achievement.
Fun and frivolity.
Yeah,
but
but-
it's not a nightmare getting it inside your house.
That's
Absolutely
right,
not. You know what
exactly.
would be a nightmare inside your house? Killer robots. That's what's going on.
That's
in
what we're
this ad,
talking
yeah.
about here, yeah. We've said it enough that I definitely can't edit that part out of the ad.
That was my plan all along.
You can actually get $100 towards select mattresses by visiting casper.com/theweeklyplanet and use the offer code theweeklyplanet. That's all one word. Terms and conditions do apply. That's $100 towards select mattresses by visiting casper.com/theweeklyplanet and use the offer code theweeklyplanet.
Imagine how many robot destroying traps you could build with that $100.
Oh my goodness.
Right?
Or just buy a bunch of bats, baseball bats,
Oh, yeah, cool.
aluminum if you're in the US.
I understand.
Yeah,
sure.
they're light.
Yeah,
We say aluminium.
Yeah.
But we're behind in Australia, so we'll get the robots like 6 years later.
Can't
Yeah,
wait.
Can't wait. Anyway, that's all linked below. Jumanji. We're going to talk about all the Jumanji films, though,
Yes.
aren't we? Because we haven't really talked about all the Jumanji movies, except for
true.
the movie Zathura, which we have talked about
Yes.
at great length in Caravan of Garbage.
Not really a sequel to Jumanji, though, was it?
Technically, it is a sequel.
It's not a
It's
sequel,
the
though, is
same.
it? No.
Even Jack Black and the director of the new Jumanji confirmed. Have you seen the interview where Jack Black's like, technically, this is...
Jack Black, famous creator of both the Jumanji and Zathura books and movies. Jack Black, the actor Jack Black from Tenacious D.
Also the director
God,
of
he's
the new-
multi-talented that he could do all those things and also create and direct and bloody write and illustrate Jumanji and Zathura, the books and movies.
And he was in an episode of
He
The
should
X-Files.
shut up.
You should shut up.
Maybe I will shut up.
Anyway, fine. Then we're going to talk about the Jumanji Trilogy, including
Yes.
the new one. It's not out in
The
Australia. but-
Jumanjilogy.
But yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Jumanji Trois?
Yeah, no, we did. We've done
We've
it.
done it all.
We did it.
We've
we
done
do
it
different
all.
ones.
Yeah. So it's not out in Australia, but we got to see an advanced screening. You saw half of that.
I saw
advanced
half
screening
of it. Yeah, I had to
because
go
you
to work, yes.
But we are going to cover them all.
Here's the thing, though. I don't think missing the last half would affect my review of the movie.
I don't think so.
I think, it's I'm going to see it again
Yeah.
when it comes out. I'll see it properly.
Yeah.
But it's not a movie where there is astounding twists and turns.
No.
You either like it or you don't like it, I
Yeah,
feel.
I think if you like the previous one,
Yeah.
then it's more of that, which I don't think is a bad thing because there's enough kind of changes in it where I don't like it less than the previous one.
Yeah, right,
And
uh-huh.
that kind of sounds like a backhanded compliment, but it's not meant to be because it's as good. I feel.
And
at
if
least.
anything, that's on par with all your other reviews.
Correct.
Which is a backhanded compliment.
Correct. Anyway, do you want to start with the first Jumanji?
Yes. Did you rewatch it?
I
rewatched
did
it.
for 1995.
And I kind of hated it.
What you know what I did like about it?
Yes.
There's like a scariness and a creepiness
To his dad, correct.
to his dad, but also in general in this movie because like Robin Williams clearly has PTSD from being trapped in the jungle for 26 years.
Yes.
And they kind of explore that.
I guess that's true,
And
yeah.
that's not something they've really looked at in the new ones
Yeah.
because Nick Jonas was in the jungle for 20 years and he seems fine.
Yeah, right,
Because
uh-huh.
the concept of time has been shifted and they've kind
Of course he's fine. He's Colin Hanks.
He's
Of course
Colin Hanks.
fine.
But they've also kind of jazzed up because I was under the impression from just this movie that it looks like there is nothing in that jungle. There's just jungle shit and a hunter and him.
Yeah, right.
But they've got like markets and fairs and sexy
Yeah,
ladies
yeah,
and,
right.
and like whatever, magical animals and
yeah.
But the Robin Williams version, I got the feeling is everything is horrible. Even the good stuff is
right,
bad.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's living in a board game.
Yeah, that's
Ugh,
true.
God.
Can you imagine? Oh my God.
I think that's why I enjoy the new versions more than I enjoy the old version, because I'm on board with I guess going into that world, and B, playing video games in general. Like if I'm at somebody's house and they're like, we're getting out the board games, I'm like, I gotta go on my phone now and then leave.
I think though also you couldn't make that video game version in the 90s because the way that video games work in the modern day, none of that stuff would fly in the 90s because none of it existed. So the idea of a video game movie then was nonsense.
Yeah, it would have been the video game
Super
version
Mario
would have been Pitfall.
Yeah.
Super Pitfall. I'll give him Super Pitfall.
Yeah, you'll give him would you give him Double Dragon?
I'll give him Rick Dangerous, weird old video game where you're a weird version of Indiana Jones. It's a little platform puzzler game.
Rick Dangerous.
And then a sequel, you were in Rick Dangerous 2, you were a Flash Gordon style character, but it was the same guy except he went to space.
Rick Dangerous.
Rick Dangerous, yeah.
Were they good? Were they Commander Keen kind of knockoffs?
Yeah, they were more puzzly than Commander Keen, but yeah, kind of, yeah.
I don't like that.
Okay. Well, get used to it, because that's all this podcast's going to be about for the rest of time.
I don't want to talk about Rick Dangerous.
No, we're talking about every level of Rick Dangerous.
I've never even heard of it.
Oh,
It's like I've got nothing to say about it.
I think it might have been British. I don't know.
It sounds British.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have been called Richard Dangerous.
Oh, yes. Lord Richard Dangerously.
So I think the idea of a board game works in the 90s and the idea of an open world video game with NPCs works in the modern day. I think
It was developed by Core Design, so it was...
That's British?
Or possibly French.
Great. Yeah. Was it folded into Sierra and then folded into nothing?
Almost certainly. Almost certainly, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I just like what I did like about, there's some wonky CGI stuff in this, but it's like the monkey faces are like, oh my God.
Also, I didn't buy that the monkeys could hijack a car.
Why not? They're magic.
I guess they're magic monkeys. That's
You
true.
didn't think of that.
But I mean, in the universe in which they live, they wouldn't know how to start a car.
No, but they're just trying stuff. And they're magic, Mason.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Look, I can 100% buy them cocking and firing a shotgun. For sure. Yeah.
Did you like it when one was in the freezer and it came out of the freezer? We should explain. Do we need to explain Jumanji?
The plot of Jumanji, surely not.
Yeah.
But there's a board game.
And then stuff comes out of it.
It's a magic board game.
Yeah.
Invented by Satan, as we've established.
Yes.
When we talked about Zathura for Caravan of Garbage, I'm fairly confident that... Now, again, without spoiling anything really, because I didn't get to the end of Jumanji, the next level,
do
they reveal that the origin of the Jumanji game is Satan?
No.
But they don't reveal it either way.
I do want to talk about the ending without spoiling it.
Okay, we can do that in a little
what
bit.
I think the new next movie will be.
Oh, so there's
And now
definitely...
I
You
think
feel
it's
there's definitely going to be another
I
one?
think if it's what I think they're going to do, I think it's a brilliant idea.
Rick
Genuinely.
Dangerous.
Ah, shut up about
They're going to go to space.
Lord Richard Dangerously.
Rock Dangerous. He's going to go to space. He's going to put on a Flash Gordon suit.
They won't go to space.
No,
they won't
go to
do
space.
it.
Okay, anyway.
Yeah. So what do you think about the special effects though? Because there is some you'll get like a CGI line, but then you've got the real head of it.
Yeah, right.
You know
And
what I mean?
there's some weird compositing going on.
Sure, yeah.
Some green screen issues.
But the stampede running through the house.
Here's the
and
thing,
that.
though. I think with Zathura, if I'd seen Zathura as a kid, I probably would have been like, "Nah, I'm not 100%. I'm not on board with this." Like, it's kind of, it never really goes anywhere. But I think if I'd seen Jumanji as a kid,
Yeah.
I would have been on board with this. I'd be like, "This is an adventure movie for the ages."
I did see it as a kid. It was the first and maybe only time I've been to a drive-through.
Oh.
And we were like...
Too busy making out.
Yeah, no, I was with my family. But I was 10 minutes late.
Oh, what?
So
you didn't know any...
I mean, I get the general idea.
Yeah.
So that's my opinion of Jumanji as being
You didn't see the whole shoe factory.
I didn't see the shoe factory thing. So at the end where he's like, look at this shoe. I'm like, what's a shoe? I yelled at my dad.
Right. I've got to get out of here. Then you kicked the door out of the car and you ran into the night.
So...
Was this Coburg Drive-In?
It's probably Coburg.
Yeah,
I'd imagine
right.
it would have
Okay.
been. Yeah.
Well.
Yeah, it's probably... Yeah, no, it would have been. Yeah.
The world.
Yeah, so that's and then I kind of saw it maybe on TV a few years later a couple of times. But no, I think what makes this movie better than Zathura...
And you were like, man, this would have been better if I could just feel the exhaust
you
seeping to
know
my
it.
nose,
Are you a fan of the drive-through?
I haven't been. Oh,
Drive-in?
I
Whatever we
think I
call
saw
it.
Guardians of the Galaxy at the drive-in.
Oh, did
It was
you?
pretty fun.
Didn't we go to the premiere?
Yeah, but I saw
of
it
that?
again.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Cool stuff. But no, so I think I think there was a good use of practical stuff, like there's scuttering spiders and
Yeah, okay, right.
you know, and
They are some genuinely terrifying. Any kind of giant insect design is
Yeah.
pretty terrifying.
no
I
good.
feel.
Yeah. What about the bats? The bats are good.
Bats are good. Gigantic man-eating plant, not so good.
Really, I thought that was good. It was kind of had that Rocky Horror
Yeah, right.
kind of feel to it. I
Rocky? Do you mean Rocky Horror? Do you mean
whatever, mate. You know what I mean.
The thing.
You know what I mean. The
Little
other
Shop
one.
of Horrors.
Yes, that
Yeah.
one. Wait a minute. I just realized, is the woman... Oh, you didn't see the end. I think the woman who... It is. The woman who adopts the kids...
Is this a spoiler for Jumanji?
Yeah, sort of. Owns,
3?
no, not really. Owns the restaurant that Danny DeVito used to own. I might be wrong. It's
okay,
the same actor, at the very least.
Oh, well then...
She's Frasier's
Well, I mean,
wife.
based on the rules of the Jumanji's Zathura universe, there's not any defined connection there,
That's-
even though they're the same actor.
They're the same... Well, no, 'cause they're both Jumanji movies is what I'm saying.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. I think there's also a good gag. There's some good gags in it. There's a moment where they ask, he's like, go and get the axe from my father's shed, and he goes out there, and then he grabs the axe to knock down the shed, and then he realizes that he's holding the axe. But then he looks at the camera. He's like, Do you remember that bit?
Yeah,
The monkey boy looks at the camera.
Yeah.
Like, it's a bit much, monkey boy. Keep moving. But no, I think what this does well, and maybe that the other movies don't do as well, is genuine terror and suspense and ramping up action.
Right.
In the way that it's kind of like, get the crystal to the whatever, which is like the newer Jumanjis, which is fine.
But I think the newer Jumanjis had the premise of the limited number of lives,
yes.
which I think that
I like that premise.
built tension. But I guess
But it feels more real when they're in a house and a lion's trying to eat you.
they were in the real world, I
Yeah.
guess. And there's also, it's more terrifying just the unknown, I think, of this.
Yeah.
And
You just don't know what's...
Yeah, and I kind of feel like in Jumanji, the sequels, that maybe you die and then you get trapped. Well, I mean, you probably just get ejected somewhere. You know?
Yeah.
Probably just arrive in a blockbuster in the 90s, you know?
Oh, God.
Yeah, I know.
Can you
Fate worse
imagine?
than death.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
So do you think there was actual people in the world of Jumanji when Robin Williams was in there? Because he built that cabin kind of where he lived,
Yes.
or whatever it is, the little retreat.
Yes.
Do you-
That's a good question because in Jumanji, the second Jumanji,
Yeah.
there are some references to Alan Parrish, right?
Yes.
Because Nick Jonas's character.
Yeah, because you see that hut. You see
Yes,
it, and it's got
right.
his name on it.
Yeah, right.
And also, it's interesting because in the newer Jumanji as well, Nick Jonas, when he does turn up, I don't know if you'd left at this point, he's bought them clothes. He's like, here's some snow gear. And they're like, hey, you can buy stuff. And he's like, yeah, I was here for 20 years. There's markets and stuff.
Yeah,
Which
right.
means there must have been when Robin Williams was there. But then again, he went in 96 and Robin Williams got out in 95. So maybe that was
Yeah,
maybe that was a video game thing.
Yeah, maybe Jumanji evolves. Like the universe expands based on the available technology in the real world.
Yeah.
So original Jumanji, because it was restricted, because it was a board game, he was restricted to what's on the board, essentially. So I guess he had a tiny universe, and just as he left, like he was probably leaving and he saw it evolve into video game form, and he just sees
man.
towns and cities arrive,
Yeah.
and bars and
Yeah.
and places to buy bloody provisions and stuff like that. And he's like, damn it.
God damn it. Yeah, you might be right. So I guess before it was a board game, it was probably a hoop and a stick.
Yeah, it was a hoop and a stick.
And you just
exactly.
get trapped
the devil
in
built
a
it.
big wheel and you just
That's right.
spin endlessly.
Yeah. What happens is you start the game Jumanji, which is a stick and a hoop.
Yeah.
And then you roll it down a hill, and then it rolls a bit too fast, and then you fall, and you just endlessly roll down a hill for 20 years. And then you end up in a cursed board game. You're like, this is
thank
what a
goodness.
welcome relief.
Oh my God, I can lie down on this leaf.
Is that what these movies are about? About how life sucks, but sometimes technology improves it slightly?
I guess
is that
so.
what it is?
Yeah, so the Jumanji seems like more appealing and more fun as you kind of,
Yeah.
as it evolves. I mean, it depends. I mean, if
No, but I think, back in the day, people would be like, they'd be lining up around the block. Let me play the hoop and the stick game. I don't care if it traps me in an endless loop of falling down a hill. I don't care.
better than the plague. So, but if there's some kind of apocalyptic situation,
Yes.
then we revert to like sand and mutants or whatever.
Yeah, it's just cave paintings.
Yeah, so that means Jumanji would then revert to like a rock that you hit people with. Like that's the game. It's like pick up your rock and hit your neighbor with it or whatever.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Or maybe that's how it started.
Oh, maybe. But there should be a movie or an anthology series which is the various eras of the Jumanji game. Maybe at one point it's just schoolyard bullying. There's one version of the game where you just put a stick in the drinking tap at school and somebody pulls the switch and it just sprays them in the face really hard. And then it goes, Jumanji! And you're like, ah!
I hate this.
Sucks.
So it's just the real world.
It's just the real world, yeah. But it evolves with the real world, yeah.
Terrific. I was watching it with Claire, and she fell asleep as she always does. And I'm looking at this hunter, right?
Yeah.
And I kept insisting to her that, like, I just cut that dude's throat. Like, I'd straight up murder that guy.
Yeah,
and she's
right.
like, you wouldn't. And I'm like, I would, because he's not real. So I could. If
Yeah.
I'm in the jungle and he's after me, I'd stab him. Like, I just would.
Well, doesn't Alan Parrish show up with like a knife?
Yeah, he's got a knife.
Yeah, he does have a knife, yeah.
So I think you could get away with it. You could murder. I mean, they do murder people. We've seen it in the video game version.
Yeah, right,
Do you think you could murder that man? Because I think I could.
Well,
I think I could best him physically. He's obviously a better shot sometimes.
But if you just get within range of,
I reckon I could stab him.
Inside his blunderbuss
Does
range.
he sleep? Because I could
Well,
find
see, that's
him and
the
kill
thing.
him.
I guess it would depend on the rules of let's say you were playing a board game and there's a hunter, like you move a piece around the board and there's a hunter that follows you. In the rules of the board game, if you can't kill the hunter on the board game, then maybe you just can't kill him in
That's
the game.
actually a really good point. Yeah.
Right? You may want to kill him.
Yeah, and he's probably superior. And I know,
Like
he's
you want
probably
to kill everybody who you play Monopoly with,
Yes.
obviously.
But he's obviously a superior tracker and everything. But they knock
Yeah.
him over with paint cans and
Yeah,
in the
right.
real world. But maybe in
You're
the
saying
jungle.
we should kill him in the real
Yeah, we
world.
should kill him in the real world. Like Freddy, you drag him into the real world.
Yeah, and then you tear him limb
Just
from
tear
limb.
him to pieces.
He's vulnerable to fire, so you trap him in the house and you set the house on fire.
I don't know. I just feel like you just could kill him.
Oh yeah, for sure. He's a bumbling idiot.
Yeah, that's
you know.
right. But I also think that even though the world of Jumanji is dangerous and you can get stuck in it, and we've talked about this in Sathura, and there's poisonous spiders and plants that can eat you and crocodiles, you cannot physically be hurt in the long term.
Right.
It will revert eventually.
I mean, as far as we know, in the board game version, you can't. In
Yes.
the video game version, who knows?
Well, that's a very good
My
point.
assumption has always been in the video game versions that if you die in the game, you die in real life. But no one has ever actually
No,
died.
I think you're just out until it's fixed. I don't know.
Oh, you're just in a limbo.
Yeah,
I guess.
I don't think they can definitively say it because then that lowers the stakes.
Yeah, right.
Or they
right.
have to kill somebody for real in the movie.
Yeah,
And I
right,
don't think they'll do that either. So yeah. Anyway, I just killed that guy. I just cut his throat.
Yes.
When that paint can fell on him, I just walk up and I'd
Cut his throat. Yeah.
cut his throat.
Just get a pair of scissors out of the kitchen drawer and just cut his throat with him.
He's probably magic. I don't know. It probably wouldn't work.
The paint can lands on him and you just look around the house for just deadly implements. You go to the garage, you get a big rusty saw out.
But you didn't like it. What is it that you don't really like about it?
It's very hokey.
Yeah, I definitely.
Yeah. But I don't know if it's deliberately hokey. Like the first, I don't know. I feel like it's
It's
intended.
like 90s hokey.
yeah, I know, but
obviously.
and that's maybe what I hate.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
I
I really like Robin Williams, but I don't like a lot of his 90s output.
Oh, really?
I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I like Mrs. Doubtfire.
Do you like Jack?
No, I don't like
I don't like Jack.
Patch Adams. I don't like
I
the
like
one
Patch
where he
Adams.
died and he has to trek through heaven to find his wife or whatever. You remember that one?
Nowhere, wherever I am.
What
or
dreams
whatever.
may come.
That's the
Yes,
one, yeah.
that one. Exactly. You nailed it.
Bicentennial Man? Is that even the
No.
90s? That might have been. I like that one. I know it's like, just I like the idea of a robot like evolving
Yeah.
into a person.
I think I like him more as
Toys?
a person and as a animated character than I do.
Oh, like
as
a genie.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's fair enough. So I like him in this movie because he's like spooky and damaged, as I mentioned.
Yeah, right.
Like, and he would, of course he is.
Yeah.
Because he's still like got the mind of a child, but the body
Yeah,
of a
he's had
of a
no
man.
education.
Yeah, so I just think that's really, I think he plays
Yeah.
it really interestingly.
And he has no sense of time also.
He's got no sense
Surely
of
you know
time.
you'd been away for decades.
You didn't know that.
That's weird. Even as a child, you would understand the passage of time.
Yeah.
Isn't he marking it on a tree or
He
something?
wasn't marking it on a tree, I don't think.
Wow.
When we went back to it in 2Manji/3Manji, he hadn't been marking stuff on trees.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, do you want to move to 2Manji?
Let's talk about
I
Jumanji.
rewatched this again this week.
What'd you think?
I was when it was coming out, I was like, I probably won't see this, and I don't think I did see it at the cinemas. I think I realized I'd rented it and I'd bought it online, so I went to watch it and I'm like, oh, I already purchased this, good. So I like it. It's different, but I like that it's different. I like that they adapted it to the modern day, and it's in the same way that I think Ghostbusters, they're smart to change it for the modern day.
It's interesting
and
that
make it different.
in retrospect, and it never even occurred to me when we talked about Jumanji last time, is that it's a version in which there's never any ramifications in the real world in Jumanji.
No, yet.
Oh. Oh.
Talk about the end.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. But no, there's not. I mean, Except for the boy being missing for.
I guess that's true. There was a missing boy.
There was a
but there's
missing
no
boy.
there's no point where it's a reversal in the sense that it isn't about somebody escaping from Jumanji the video game and then video game stuff destroying the real world temporarily.
Pixels.
It's not pixels. It's the other way around.
It's the other way around. Yeah, you're not wrong.
It
Yeah,
makes you think, doesn't it?
It does make you think. What I like about this movie as well is it starts with the spookiness of Jumanji, and then it becomes and it's like a guy getting sucked into a video game, and it's a spooky house and a cranky old man and stay out of Jumanji and whatever,
Right.
and then it just turns into this ridiculous video game-esque movie where all the performances of the leads are quite good. Like they're a good, what's to say, pair, quadruple. What's the word?
4 people.
That's not
Then
one word.
5 people.
Then 5 people. You're not wrong. Yeah, I think it's a clever idea, and I think there's the reason it made a lot of money is because it's like a fun family movie.
Yeah, everybody seems to really be enjoying playing in some cases against type, and in some cases kind of, I guess, getting the chance to play these sort of double layered characters.
Yeah.
Which is fun.
And Nick Jonas, who's someone like I'd never think about, is really good in both of these movies. Like he's charismatic and he's cool and he does well doing like, he's sort of Tom Hanks' son, sort of, I
Sure,
guess.
right,
But he's mostly just Nick Jonasing, I guess. But he's a good addition as well, and he is in the new one as well.
Well, I wouldn't know.
I think, though, there's elements of it that are less interesting. Like there's a moment when they do a helicopter chase in a canyon and there's just CGI rhinos chasing them. Whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, whatever. Like, it really is... Like that's the stuff where I'm like, that's not as interesting as like a poison plant that's slowly killing you.
Well, that's true. And I guess also in this universe, all you really have to do is not be like bodily chomped by a giant snake or something, you know?
Or something, yeah.
Just stay away from the enormous giant snake that is going to eat you whole.
Yeah.
Because you'd probably be fine.
Probably be fine. So, but you like the idea of the lives as well, though? The 3 lives and I like the...
It wasn't as a lot of movies where people get sucked into video games or whatever, like it's quite on the nose, like the mechanics of the universe, and like, well, this is the skills you have, and this is the powers you have, and here's the etc.
But I think so. You think it is or not on the nose?
No, I think it's not on the nose.
Yeah.
I think it's quite subtle.
I think the way they explain it is, well, some people don't know what this is, and some people do, and then they re-explain it in the new one, and it also kind of makes sense the way that they. But I also think it's interesting that the choices they make in relation to those characters and the skills that they have, I think it creates interesting scenarios as well. Yeah, and this is all stuff can be said for the new one as well.
The new one is basically the same.
It's basically the same
as the second
Let's
one.
talk about the new one.
Okay.
I don't really have much else to say, but because it all applies.
The best addition to this is obviously, if you've seen the trailer, the Jumanji video game from the previous movie has been put together in a sort of a haphazard way.
It's been remungied.
And our heroes go back into the game.
Yep.
There's some glitches. There's a difference in it. The system's been upgraded somehow.
Different mission.
There's a different mission. There's different skills.
It's still get the thing.
It's absolutely still get the thing from a fearsome warlord kind of character.
Yes.
Who's the guy from Game of Thrones?
The Mountain, yeah.
The Mountain from Game of Thrones?
No, the Hound.
The Hound.
One
There
of
we
them.
go. Yeah. It's one
of
of those
the- one of the
crazy
giant
brothers.
guys, yeah.
They should have brought him in as the Mario brothers. Quick, which one's Mario and which one's Luigi? Luigi's the Hound.
Well, yeah.
Because he's the downtrodden brother.
Yes, that's
and
true.
Mario is the mountain.
Mario's the mountain, and Mario... Well, they both really don't talk that much, but I feel like Luigi talks more. I don't know.
yeah.
That's even true.
But I feel like Luigi is always in the shadow of his brother.
He's in a spooky house often.
and Mario is obviously an undead monster.
Yes.
He's always
He'll
like...
kill anything.
Just coming out of his face, you know?
And he'll kill anything.
And he'll kill anything,
And he'll
yeah.
sleep in the sewer or whatever.
That's true. Where he belongs.
Where he belongs.
Anyway, I'm saying they should have brought him back.
Is he a real world plumber, Mario? I don't know.
Not anymore, as far as I know.
Okay.
Also, canonically, how old is Mario, if you had to guess?
Well, in the first game, he was probably 40, I assume.
All right, well, what's your answer, though?
Oh, so
Like,
70, let's
He's
say.
25.
No, get the fuck out of here.
Canonically, he's 25.
He's not 25.
I learned that this week. He's always 25.
He's not 25.
It's the mustache that throws you.
It's not just that, it's everything.
I know, but canonically, he's 25. The guys from Nintendo are like, yeah, he's 25.
He's not 25.
He is.
He's 38.
Yeah, well, maybe. Maybe he's lying about his age.
He might be.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here with that.
So he was originally a carpenter.
Was he?
Yeah, for Donkey Kong.
Oh, okay.
Because he's working on a building
right,
site,
yeah,
he's a
yeah,
carpenter,
yeah,
and then
okay.
he took up plumbing. And now he's full-time adventurer.
Yeah, well, good.
And Luigi's mostly ghost hunting these days.
Also,
I think.
I've never seen him plumb anything.
You know what? You know what's tricking you? Bob Hoskins.
Yeah, it is. You're
That's
right.
right, yeah.
But it's you're right though. It's the mustache.
Bringing back
it's
his
the
young
stature.
sexy. Yeah.
It's the overalls.
It is the overalls. They'll age a man.
They'll
won't
age a
they?
man, definitely.
What are we talking about? Oh yeah, Jumanji 3.
25. Get out of here with that. I'd like to see his license.
Don't take it up with me. Take it up
I
with
will take it up with
Nintendo
you. You're the
Japan.
only one here, so you're gonna.
Okay, I'm gonna tweet Nintendo right now. I won't.
Yeah. You know what I think also is good about this sequel is The Rock is playing Danny DeVito.
Yes.
And Kevin Hart is playing
Danny
Riggs.
Glover.
Riggs? Is he
Murtaugh.
Riggs? Oh, he
Murtaugh.
is. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Danny Glover. And they both are good enough actors
Yes.
that you believe that they're different people.
Yeah.
And I think that's really impressive.
I imagine, speaking of like them, I imagine they had a great time just getting to The Rock and Kevin Hart got a chance to sort of reimagine those characters.
Yes.
They seem to be having a lot of fun with it,
Yes.
which I appreciate. I think that comes across on screen. I wonder if they did some sort of session where they got The Rock and Danny DeVito in a room together, and Danny DeVito would read all of The Rock's lines, and then The Rock would like emulate that somehow. I
Yeah,
wonder.
right.
Or if he's just winging it.
He might just be winging it.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't even so much stuff where I'm like, that's such a DeVito kind of thing. It
Right.
didn't really even feel like that. It just felt close enough.
It felt
to what
like
they
just
were
an
doing.
old man sort of.
Just an
you
old
know
man
what
thing.
I really felt for the characters in this. Just
Explaining.
just if you've ever tried to like tell instruct an old person on how to like make a comment on YouTube or something, or like delete a comment off Facebook or something like that. Like just the intense level of frustration you can feel just explaining how a mouse cursor.
Yeah,
okay,
right.
the thing that you move it with, and that'll corresponds to and them going, what? I just
Which one am I?
now imagine that level of frustration, but also now that old person is trapped in a fully immersive virtual reality video game that has come out of a cursed board game.
Yeah, there's so much stuff you have
And
to
we've been in it before. First of all, you have to explain what video games are.
Yeah, that's
You have
right.
to explain the concept, like a thing they've never used. And look, I understand that there's, there are plenty of older people out there who are well on top of technology, who are probably way better at than us.
Definitely.
And they're keeping up with the emerging trends. And I'm sure I'm going to be one of those old people who isn't up. I'm going to hit a cutoff point and I'm going to stop.
Yeah.
But the characters in this movie are not those people, and they just now trying to imagine explain a video game, the concept of lives and missions and characters and abilities
Yeah.
and maps and menus, and imagine trying to explain the PS4 controller to someone in their 70s who's never seen a video game ever. They missed it. Every button on that thing. Imagine. But then you have to be like, also, none of that's here. It's all in your own mind.
Yeah, that's right.
And
you have to direct them to do a thing.
And it's
because
magic.
that you can't do. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's magic because they have specific abilities of things that tasks that you can't perform.
But that's touched on a little bit by these characters, and I definitely felt
I bought that,
because half the characters that go into the new Jumanji are the Danny DeVito and Danny Glover's characters, and the two Dannys, and the other two are the teenagers from the previous movie.
Yes.
And I was just like, oh, I'm right there with you. I get this.
I feel it.
That's what's going to kill you in this universe. It's not giant snakes. It's having a heart attack, trying to explain what a skill tree is.
Absolutely, yeah. I've written here, I haven't got much else to say because I don't want to spoil it for you.
Yes.
But Karen Gillan, is
she related to Karen Gillan?
Sorry,
in
Karen
any way?
Gillan. She also has an action scene in this one with nunchucks towards the end, which you missed.
Oh yeah, because she in the skill set she's got
Yeah.
nunchucks. Yeah,
She's just very good at that stuff.
Yes.
And I know she's done it in Guardians or whatever, but it seems like a lot of this you see her face and she's actually doing it.
Uh-huh.
She's just really convincing in doing these kinds of
You sure it's not a
things.
stunt double?
It
and then
seems like
pasted her face
that,
on
it's
top?
very possible.
Right.
But it's either way, whatever they've done
Whoever's
here,
doing the nunchuck stuff,
it's very convincing.
Unless they've CGI'd the nunchucks also. What if it's a stunt double and they've CGI'd her face on and they've CGI'd nunchucks in?
that's still
What if
very...
they've CGI'd every
Then it
element of
looks
this
great.
movie?
They've
Yeah,
done
right?
it.
Then kudos
She
to
doesn't hit herself once with the nunchucks.
kudos to the visual effects people who are going to get fired after this.
That's right.
Good for them.
I think it would have been easier to train her than CGI the physics of a nunchuck.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm
excited to watch that.
Dumber things have been spent on CGI.
When it comes out on Boxing Day in Australia, I'm going to watch it
Yeah.
and be excited about it.
Okay, I do want to talk about the ending. I'm not going to talk about but they obviously all of them get out of the Jumanji, right?
Oh yeah,
the
for sure.
Jumanji-ation.
Yeah. Nobody's going to Jumanji.
And then at the end, it's implied. Well, it's not implied that some of the Jumanji stuff has started to leak into the real world.
Oh, it's
So-
a Fallen Kingdom style
Exactly.
situation, right?
So what I think is going to happen in the next movie,
Yes.
you've got the teenagers in the real world,
Yes.
and then the video game characters are going to come out of the game, and
You're going to meet each other.
yeah, and The Rock is going to be the actual hero version of that, and Karen Gillan's going to be that version
Oh,
of that.
yeah, that's
but they're going to
cool.
be in the real world.
And what they're going to do is they're probably going to have their...
Imagine trying to explain the real world
Oh
to a
my
video game
God.
character.
See, that's fun. That's very fun.
Yeah.
And it's going to be... Because they're going to... The video game versions are going to have a third sort of personality type because they're going to be the... They're going to be like the Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah,
Before
exactly.
he realizes what world he lives in. They're going to... Dr. Bravestone is going to be video game, like NPC Dr. Bravestone.
That's right.
So that's fun.
I
like it.
I think that's what they're going to do. I base that off like one kind of sequence in this tiny sequence at the end. But
But when have we ever been wrong?
good point.
That's
If
a
only
really
there was
good
a list we could consult, but there isn't one.
No, anyone would seriously damage our psyche and our ability to do this
It would be
podcast.
embarrassing. We'd have to quit, obviously.
I think we'd have to quit. So
Maybe
I'm
some
glad there
people
isn't
want
one.
that though.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think
Tim.
I think that's a good idea because it's like that Jurassic Park situation of like how many times we've gone back to this island.
Right, exactly.
You
Yeah.
can't justify going back in there.
Yeah. We can't justify in story while they keep building these islands.
Yes, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
But also, I kind of will miss the Jumanji world because I like. It's a fun world that they're in.
Yeah.
It's then they've expanded it enough in this new movie where there's desert and ice worlds and markets
Yeah.
and whatever. So anyway, it's good.
It is good
It's
stuff.
just a pretty decent franchise at this
Yes.
point. It's not like mind blowing, and I think people are like, well, those movies are crap and not whatever, but they're exactly what they should be.
Yeah. And again, like this is good fun family fare, I
Yeah.
think. You know?
Family fair.
And then afterwards, if you're a kid, your parents take you to this, and then they go, "What was the thing about the video games?" And you'd be like, "Oh, mum or dad, you don't get it, but I get it.
Just shut up, mum
Just
or dad.
shut up, mum or dad."
I want them to bring the hunter into the real world in the new one though, and I want someone to cut his throat. Nick Jonas. That's the
Nice.
character that I identify
Yeah,
with, obviously,
right,
because
right.
we're similar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yep.
Don't you think?
Yep.
If I had to identify with anyone in this movie, that's probably the closest approximation.
You're more a Danny Glover type. I think.
I'll take that.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
I thought you were going to say Colin Hanks, and I would not have accepted that. Though in reality, that is clearly the closest
right,
approximation of me in that movie. And even then, I fall well short of Colin Hanks, obviously.
That's right.
Anyway, next thing, Mason.
Yeah. What we reading?
What are we going to
gonna
read? I'm doing a thing. What are we reading today? I'll put the theme in. And what are we doing? What are we... I don't know what he's doing. We weren't doing that before.
We were doing it.
We were not.
You've thrown me under the bus with my little hand claps. Thought we were going to form a family band like the Partridge Family.
I don't like them.
Wow.
I don't like any family
Wow. I'll
bands
do it on
that
my
you're-
own. Meso's family band. Brackets just Meso.
just-
So I was going to say, speaking of what we read and what we're going to read, YouTube occasionally sends me like recommend based on your algorithm, like
Yeah.
on my phone. It's like, hey, you should watch this. And I've gotten here. It's a promo for NCIS Season 17, Episode 10. Season 17 of Naval Criminal Investigative Services.
Is that what it stands for?
Ziva's still in it, evidently, based on
Show
the
me that. Show
thumbnail.
me that picture.
Ziva's still in it.
I don't know
Mark
what that is.
Harmon is still
I
in
don't
it,
know what you're talking
evidently.
about. I don't know what you're talking about.
They're sharing a tender moment.
That's
probably
tender.
in a nursing home, which is where they live now.
But
Because this show's been going for 17
But you
seasons.
also need to remember that it's the same episode every time.
Oh,
so
yeah,
you
for
could
sure.
jump in at any point.
That is true. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Except at one point they'll do a Tinder episode or whatever. Or a
yeah.
Snapchat episode.
Somebody will wind up murdered and they'll be like, well, it turns
The-
out
the
they were
gamer tag was-
they were big on Zinder, which is the NCIS version of Tinder or whatever, you know?
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, I know it. So you're going to obviously give that a watch.
I'm gonna watch that, give that a watch. And look, I'm hesitant to even mention this thing that I watched this week because I figure you and Claire would have covered it on your other podcast, Suggestible.
Great
Because I
show.
know Claire is a big fan. It's the Michael Bay movie 600 Ground,
Oh,
featuring Ryan Reynolds
you know
and some
what?
other people.
I started it
And how far did you get?
about 12 seconds.
Yep. How long did it
I
feel?
didn't even see a person. And
All
I
right.
just went,
No. Yeah.
And I know it's one of those things where like if you like that stuff,
Yep.
it's right up your alley or whatever, but he's taken so much of my time.
Your
and
life.
I just don't want to
Yeah.
dedicate myself to it. That being said, like looking at the trailers, I'm like, it's got some stuff in there that I don't mind. The reviews aren't great, but where were you at with it?
It's pretty bad. Here's the thing. It's only 2 hours, which is short for a Michael Bay film, but it feels like if you give me the choice of rewatching this or rewatching The Irishman every time.
Really?
This feels longer than The Irishman in
Wow.
my estimation. It just keeps going.
Was it action scenes forever? Is it
No, it's just...
is it Bants?
It's not even action sequence. The movie goes for an hour before we've established all the origins of all the team members.
Oh my god.
So if you haven't,
Oh my god.
So the premise basically is that Ryan Reynolds' character is a billionaire, but for
Great.
some reason,
How relatable.
very relatable, isn't it? But for some reason, he's like, well, the world isn't going as well as I think people should do more in the world, and rather than using his billions or allowing his billions to be
Where'd
taxed,
he get his billions?
he invented magnets or something.
No,
Which
he
you'll know
didn't.
because if you watch the trailer, there's an action sequence later that involves magnets. There's some big magnets.
Does he shout magnets or something?
No, nobody shouts magnets.
Well, then what are they even doing?
I don't know. But anyway, what he
Invents
does.
That's the thing that Michael Bay came up with for
Yeah,
a
right?
billionaire. Magnet inventor? Sure, Michael, fine.
He invented all these magnets and they got put in phones and cars and whatever, and he
Great.
got real rich. Anyway, rather than giving his money to charitable causes or influencing the media like most billionaires do, he decides to build a team of like him and 5 more people who are kind of good at military stuff, and then they just go around
you
like
say kind of?
yeah, kind of good at military stuff. Oh, if you were like, and then they go and just do like shoot dictators or whatever.
Okay.
But they're not particularly good at it. Also, if you were like, I think I'll go my entire life without there being a resurgence of parkour, you're wrong. Because parkour's back, baby. Because one of them's a parkour guy.
I just mentioned in my
Yeah.
Black Widow trailer
Yeah.
breakdown that I'm like, parkour's due for a comeback.
It's back.
I didn't think it'd be back this
Yeah,
week, though.
Well, I mean, it won't be back after this.
Oh,
but there's
that's
one
true.
guy who's pretty good at... And I think Michael Bay is very proud that some of the sequences in this are real parkour, but bearing in mind, we've seen it all before.
I feel like parkour now in movies and TV shows is just a guy quickly going up a wall, and that's it.
Yeah,
They don't
right.
make a big deal of it.
Well, this guy's definitely like that. Nobody, I don't think anybody says parkour in this, but he's definitely like that's his one trick, is he's a parkour guy.
Because isn't it like Brad-
He's good at parkour, and then like 2 separate sequences in which a big thug guy is just beating him up, like holding him on the ground and just thumping him until somebody else shows up and shoots the guy.
Cool, that's cool.
Yeah.
That happens twice.
Yeah.
You know, they had it in that Brad Pitt, Leonardo DiCaprio movie recently. Like
Meet Joe Black.
Yeah, Meet Joe Black. He
He parkour. Brad Pitt's character parkours over that car in the middle of the street.
That's very good. But, yeah, so
Parkour.
But yeah, you know the bit where he climbs the roof
Yeah,
and he just kind of does it. That's
Yeah.
what parkour is now.
Yeah.
So if you've got a sequence where like an extended parkour sequence,
yes,
who cares?
That's true. And it's really interesting.
Like a gunfight in a movie. Like who cares?
There's an opening sequence in this, which is actually it's interesting. It's like a car chase through Italy, and a lot of stuff goes wrong. And there's a
How much do they shout at each other?
all the constant shout. There's constant shouting the whole time. There's every second of this movie is people shouting at each other and being like, "Yeah, well, you watch your back. I'm watching your back. But who's the one with the gun? It's this guy. So you watch your back." But then they get together at the end. They're all team members at the
They're
end.
watching each other's backs.
But there's a chase sequence right at the start of the movie, and as they were going through it, as the chase sequence is happening, I'm like, man, you watch these movies and they're just charging through crowds or whatever, and it's weird that everybody like knows to get like they're doing stuff and they're assuming people are going to get
Yeah.
out of the way and nobody gets hit, but then they hit a bunch of people with the car, like they legit hit a guy and he flips over the car, Meet Joe Black style.
Just a guy.
Just a guy. It's not even Michael. I would assume that Michael Bay style, it would be like a real asshole on his mobile phone or something like that. It'd be like, yeah, sell. Like it'd be an old school, outdated businessman being like, yeah, well, blah blah blah. I'm gonna buy another yacht on the weekend, and then he gets hit by a car, and you go, take that, businessman. But it's just a guy walking down the street. They hit him with a car, and they go, don't hit anybody else, and he's like, okay.
Oh, that's it. No ramifications.
There's no ramifications. Like a bunch of people get.
It's interesting that they acknowledge it though.
Yeah, right. That's
So-
why it's interesting.
Yeah.
It's not good necessarily, but it's interesting.
Because also, like, recently there was somebody ran a car down in the Melbourne CBD and hit and killed a bunch of people.
yeah, right.
And because that's what would actually happen. And it's interesting that they put that in the movie and then just went, whatever.
Yeah, like a lot of people, because it's
Like,
it's,
I could believe a universe where people do get out of the way.
yeah,
You know
that's
what I
the
mean?
so that's the Michael.
Why fold that in at
That's
all?
the
It's
Michael Bay
strange to
universe
me.
that we know, is that everybody at like a outside cafe or something like that, sitting at some tables under umbrellas or whatever, when they see a car coming, they all immediately know to just become stuntmen and leap out of the way. But yeah, like and there's this, they're being chased by a million cars, as you might imagine.
Sure.
And everybody's hitting everything, and like all kinds of civilians are being hit.
He's a billionaire,
And,
right?
well, yeah, exactly. He's a billionaire, so he doesn't care, I guess. So if the idea of this movie is, well, I think billionaires should be out there shooting people up and going on adventures to right democracy. No, because they're bad at this. They're hitting this is a bad waste. This is a waste of your resources. Also, it's interesting that it's the idea behind this is like, yeah, there's a billionaire out there who's doing some really good stuff. There's no billionaires out there doing any good stuff.
Because they wouldn't be billionaires
They
otherwise.
wouldn't be billionaires. They're all just hoarding their money like dragons.
Yeah.
They're just sitting on their pile of gold.
Yeah.
That's what's going on.
You're not wrong. But we need them because it trickles down.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. What do you need $1 billion for?
I don't know.
What,
Me personally?
Yeah.
Lamborghinis.
Yeah, Lamborghinis.
Yeah.
Stunts.
Yeah,
Cool
but I mean,
stuff.
once you've got like 10 Lamborghinis, how many more?
You need the new one each year.
You could buy 1,000 Lamborghinis
could.
for $1 billion.
Comfortably.
Wait.
It's 1,000 million, right?
Yeah, you could buy at least 1,000 Lamborghinis.
I mean, that's not what I would spend it on, but
Yeah.
yeah. Sounds
There's
good.
not even 1,000 available Lamborghini colors.
That's probably true.
Yeah.
You could get them custom. Do you think I should watch this? Like,
I
is
don't
it
know if
worth talking about more than what you're doing here?
I don't think it is really.
Okay, because like the way you're talking and describing it to me makes me think that maybe there's some things that we could watch in
Here's
this
the
and
thing.
rip through
I
it.
think that the trick. See, I don't know. I think that watch the first action sequence. But as I was saying before, because there's 6 members, a la Suicide Squad, a la any kind of team movie.
Love it.
You have to, you're like, well, how did everybody get here? And then it's number one, and he's the driver. How did he get here? And then you cut away or whatever. They intersperse it so sparingly into, like, the first hour is plot and what's going on, but then it's also the origins are interspersed throughout the first hour. So, it's kind
Rick and Morty recently do a bit about
Maybe.
they did. Did you watch the heist episode?
No, I'm behind.
Okay, they assemble a squad.
Yeah.
And they talk about they make a point in that episode of saying like it's the least interesting part of a heist movie is assembling the squad because you got to go through and see everybody's origin. And this movie just sounds like it's just that.
Well, that's the thing, and it sort of goes. The timeline is really quite confusing because they keep going. They're like, okay, here's what's happened. It starts off. Here's what happened. Here's what happened 3 years ago, and now here's 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And now here's the present day, but now we're going back to these characters' origins, and then here's the present day again. But
Do they have different haircuts?
No, they all have the same haircut. Every character has the same haircut.
Great.
Yeah, it's a mohawk.
So don't watch it because I wasn't gonna.
No, there's not.
You don't think we could do a thing out of it at all ever?
Not really. You know what? Maybe watch the first car chase just to see if you enjoy that.
Alright.
But it doesn't get any better, in my opinion.
Sounds great.
In my humble opinion.
We're not going to talk about Watchmen this week because you haven't seen it as of yet.
No.
We might
No,
watch it
I'm a
after
week
this
behind.
very episode.
Yes.
And then we'll talk about the finale and that next week
Yep.
in the What We're Eating. Do you want to talk about The Mandalorian?
Yes, in our famous segment.
Who
Who watches the TV show The Mandalorian? Parentheses James Maso asterisk Weekly Planet podcast. Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
Spoilers, I
Yeah,
guess?
spoilers for The Mandalorian.
it's-
Apologies to our UK viewers, listeners,
Yeah.
who cannot view
Just
Disney
steal
Plus,
it.
right? Just yeah.
I mean, it's not
Don't
your
get
fault.
caught.
Don't get caught, obviously.
Don't say we did it.
No.
Because we'll deny it.
We would never.
Yeah.
And we haven't.
We faked our own death for plausible
right.
deniability. 6 Underground style.
We've been dead for 3 years by the time you're hearing this.
That's right.
Yeah. So it's a betray the team, assemble the team, betray the team episode.
It is
it's
one of those,
definitely
yeah.
better than the previous.
And it's kind of
week.
bottly. It's a very
It's-
bottly
yeah,
episode.
They're all bottly though, aren't they?
I guess that's true. He's always at a slightly different location.
I think what they're doing
but
is
this is like we have one corridor.
Yeah.
And we'll just keep redressing the one corridor
and we'll
as
bring
a...
in some droids.
Yes.
I think what this show is doing is like what Rebels and the Clone Wars and Resistance does. Rebels is probably a good example of this, where they'll do these kind of. They are the first series doesn't really build on the lore that like it builds a little bit on the lore, but then as it expands, you
Yeah, right,
widen
uh-huh.
the universe and you bring in more people, and it becomes more of one narrative flow. And I think that's what this is doing, because it feels like an episode of like Xena Warrior Princess,
Right.
or
Put that on the poster.
Yeah, it's like 90s television with $10 million.
Yeah,
I know a lot
right.
of people have said that by now, but it's still what it feels like to me. Yeah. It's just not brilliant, do you think?
It's not brilliant, but it is enjoyable, which
But
is probably what
this
I would
was
have
better
said
than
about.
This is better than last week's one, definitely.
Probably what I would have said about Xena Warrior Princess back in the day.
I also think if you get like Bill Burr, do something
Yes.
interesting with him.
Yeah, give him 3 guns.
Give him, I mean, like get him to say some stuff.
Also, you know
funny
what's
stuff.
interesting about Bill Burr's character is that he was an Imperial sharpshooter, but he's a terrible shot. Even with 3 guns,
There is
3
one
guns
point-
blazing in a corridor, he can barely hit 4 droids standing in a line.
Well, he does it later
Right.
where they've got his back to it. But yeah, there's a moment where they let the Mandalorian fight 4 droids and they just watch, and because they couldn't. How did he even get behind? Doesn't matter. It's not important. Apparently, also, you mentioned how much of is he actually in the suit. Apparently, not as much as I thought.
Oh.
Apparently, he's got other commitments, and sometimes he's just not there.
You mean Pedro Pascal,
Yes.
not the character of the Mandalorian?
Correct.
He doesn't pay some kid
It's not a-
just
yeah,
to wear the
that's right.
Mandalorian. Maybe that's why the character is having so much trouble in fights. Because sometimes he has to do other stuff, so he just pays some
Yeah.
random
It's 3
villager.
Ewoks in the armor.
Yeah, right.
Stacked on top of each other. Yeah.
Okay, right.
But anyway,
Which again lends credence to a theory that was posited by one of our listeners that we're going
Yes.
to claim as our own, that it might be a lady in the suit.
did you see Tristan?
Tristan the Peas
Yeah.
on
Instagram.
on Instagram did
Did an
some
awesome
fan art
Yeah.
of the Mandalorian as a lady, which is
Woman
very good.
DeLorean.
Yes,
Thank you.
a Mandalorian.
That's
That's
great
what I'm
too.
saying.
That's
That's-
really
that's
good.
what
Well,
I'm
I'm going to say a woman DeLorean.
Nice.
But I think we're both winners.
I think so too. But
Yeah.
well, maybe we'll link that, or I'll
Maybe we
repost
will.
it so people can follow her and check out that art because it's really good.
Cool. I just like to throw. Oh, sorry. You're going to.
I was going to say also congratulations to Manny Garza who did some nice artworks of us, some little fan arts of us, and he got a real commission. Like a band commissioned him to do their logo because they saw this and
Awesome.
they're like
That's
"We should-"
great.
Yeah, right. There you go. Congratulations.
See, nobody's wasting their time.
That's right.
Especially
Manny.
Manny.
Yeah.
Who did not waste his time.
That's
That's
right.
terrific. That's great.
Maybe when he was drawing little pictures of
probably
us, he
like,
was like,
"Why am I doing
God,
this?
this was a waste of my time.
could be
This
good."
isn't continues to be a waste of my time. I finished it. Oh, what a waste of my time. Oh,
I guess
no.
I'll post it.
Yeah, I guess I posted, right?
Yeah. I also been reading Undiscovered Country by Scott Snyder and Charles Soule.
Oh, okay.
It's basically where the US has cut itself off from the rest of the world, and then for 30 years, and then in the future they opens themselves up. And
Okay, but what about in the comic book?
like this fucking country can be throwing stones, Mason.
Yeah, I know,
But
I know.
and then there's an expedition goes in, and is it weird? Yes,
Wait, who's the
they're from
expedition?
different countries.
Oh, okay, so like a United Nations
Yes.
of people come in and be like,
Something
what's
like
this
that,
United
yeah.
States happening?
Yeah.
Okay, right.
What's this United States happening?
This United States, what's this United States of whatever, you know? So this isn't any, like it's kind of genre-y, but it's not, it's sort of real worldy. It isn't like, a
little bit.
It
It's a
isn't
little bit
sci-fi.
future-y, it's a little bit Mad
okay,
Max-y,
right,
it's a little
okay,
bit
right, okay.
this and that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you say it's inspired by, you know, the Japanese were kind of insular for a kind of a long time?
I could do
like
it. Yeah, I could
had,
probably,
you know,
yeah, I could see that. Sure.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now that you've said that, yes, that thing that you said.
Undiscovered
yeah.
country, okay.
Yeah. Check it out if you want.
Who was the writer again?
What have we got? Charles Soule, who did the new Darth Vader run, and Scott Snyder, who
Oh, yeah,
of
like
course,
Scott Snyder,
and a
Batman.
bunch
Okay,
of other
right. Cool.
stuff. Cool. All right. Do you know what it's time for then?
Is it time for letters?
Yes.
Letters.
Yes.
The classic one was
Letters, oh letters, we love you. Some letters, they're only a day away.
I know they're here right now. We're going to do letters.
If you do want to reach the show, hashtag Weekly Planet Pod. What do you think of that?
Yeah.
Or weeklyplanetpod@gmail.com.
Yes.
So listen up. Do you have some letters or some whatever's, Mason?
Yeah, this is from Ethan Karen.
Hello, Ethan Karen.
It says, on the last episode, Mason recommended Intermission, and called the Irish Train Spotting, which I hadn't seen at the time, but I have watched it. It's very funny.
Oh, good.
Should
I watch it?
Yeah, you should watch it. Colin Farrell's good.
I will.
And actually, this week I'm also going to watch Seven Psychopaths, which is a movie
I have
with
seen
Colin
that.
Farrell.
I
I
like that a
haven't
lot.
seen that one.
It's good.
Anyway, he's saying, now I'm wondering, is there an Australian movie with a train spotting type of vibe? Not necessarily about drugs or anything, but just like a really dark comedy or cult film about 90s, 2000s Aussie culture. If so, I'm definitely down to check it out. Here's one that I saw this earlier. I didn't have one in my mind, but I
Getting
just thought
Square.
of one. Getting Square. Is
I
Sam
haven't seen
Worthington
Getting
in
Square.
that?
Maybe.
Look, anything with probably anything with Ben Mendelsohn in it. But the one I was thinking of was He Died with a Falafel in his hand.
Yeah.
Which has Noah Taylor in it.
Yes.
You might know him as the tech guy in the old Tomb Raider movies.
Yes. And Better Things.
and
He's in Vanilla Sky.
Yeah, that's right. He is. Yeah. And that is sort of about share house living in the 90s.
Yes.
Like just it was
Oh my
based.
God, it's so 90s.
It was based on a book by a man named John Birmingham, who started out doing kind of like slice of life Australian kind of just suburban stuff, and then he shifted genres to kind of like Tom Clancy techno thriller kind of stuff recently. But this movie is based on that book, and it's basically about like a bunch of deadbeats who all live in like they sort of are all roommates, housemates in Australia in the 90s, and just the weird drugs and booze and falafels and cults and all sorts of weird stuff that happens in there.
I haven't seen that in a long time. Is that hold up?
I saw it quite recently, like in the last year. It's good. Real
Okay.
good. I like it.
I'll check it out.
Maybe that one.
I always say this, but Two Hands. I mean, that's drugs and underground stuff.
And the late, great Heath Ledger.
Yeah, and Rose Byrne's in it as well, Brian Brown. It's excellent. It's one of my favourite movies. I watched it recently.
That's the movie that made me say, Heath Ledger, he'd never be a good Joker. And then I was wrong.
Did you really? Really?
No, I don't know. But I
love Two Hands. I think it's so good.
It's good. It's a
and
good
the soundtrack's great.
Yes.
I think it's a terrific movie. And it's from 99, so it's right on the cusp.
There we go.
Yeah. I think I've talked about it before, but it is that era of like crime and drugs and King's Cross, which that doesn't really exist anymore. Not in that way, at least, because it's just things have just kind of changed. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. I've got a tweet here from Eli, who says, are there any Star Wars comics I should read before TROS?
Oh, I was going to say there's a scene in Intermission where Colin Farrell tries to rob a car using a shovel. So it's pretty.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
So yeah, Eli says, are there any Star Wars comics I should read ahead of TROS, The Rise of Skywalker, #WeeklyPlanetPod on Twitter?
Okay.
There is one called Journey to Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker Allegiance. It's 4 issues and it basically fills in the gap in between. I've read it. I think it's fine from memory. I don't really remember much about it, but I don't really think you necessarily need to read it. And there's also a book which I've bought and I haven't read called Star Wars Resistance Reborn, which is again set in that time period. But I honestly think you don't really need to see anything.
Yeah, it's not occurred to me until you've just talked about it now that I didn't think we'd have to catch up with anything.
Yeah, right.
So I guess the idea because
last time we didn't, because it was literally like straight into it.
So there's no supplemental material that's like, well, if you won't recognize this character unless you okay, right.
There's also some like normally the stuff that really fills in the gaps and spills like the secrets is stuff that they reveal after, because there's certain things you cannot say, obviously leading into a movie because you give away certain secrets. Speaking of, there is a series coming out which I'm really looking forward to, which starts this week. Yeah, it's written by Charles Soule, who did the recent Darth Vader run, which I really liked.
Yes.
And it's art by Will Sliney, who I think listens to the show, maybe at some
Hi,
sometimes,
Will.
If or he has in the past at least. With
Bye, Will.
Bye. We'll see you later.
Don't let the door hit you on the arse on the way out, Will.
This is basically the rise of Kylo Ren and his origin story.
Okay, right.
And I'm super looking forward to it. And I think the reason also that it's out this week is because there's stuff in it which spoils the Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, okay,
so
that's
right. The one I've been, and I love
so this is
everybody
something,
on this.
This is something ideally you should watch. You should listen. You should read.
After.
I'll get there.
Yes.
I'll get there afterwards.
Yes.
Okay, right.
Again, it could be terrible. I'd say it's going to be at the very least very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's an email from Sam Jones. Crisis on Infinite Earths. Can you talk about that this week?
I can talk a little bit about it.
Yep.
I also got this from Dr. Maestro. It says, guys, please watch Crisis on Infinite Earths and touch on the next podcast. It's been amazing so far. I've seen bits and pieces.
I've also seen bits and pieces.
I like what they did with the Smallville thing. Did you watch that clip? Spoiler alert.
So for anybody who hasn't watched this, for anybody who hasn't watched Crisis on Infinite Earths, the Arrowverse crossover with every DC TV property that currently is and has ever been.
Correct.
There's an antimatter wave that's going to destroy the universe, and so there are 7 individuals that the Arrowverse team have to go throughout the multiverse and find, and they're going to track them down because they're important. And so they're going to all the various parallel universes that have existed in DC TV, and they go to the Smallville, Kansas of TV Smallville, and we see the guy's
Tom Welling
as Superman. So this is post the comic book season 11,
where he's also the Green Lantern or something.
Yeah, and in this universe, Lex Luthor, played by John Cryer, attempts to
He's good.
kill him with a piece of kryptonite, but then we discover that this version of Superman has given up his superpowers in order to become a parent.
And then he punches him in the face.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
It's really great.
Yeah.
The reason I think it works is because that version of the character clearly never really wanted to be Superman.
Right.
And that was evident in the fact that they took
He
him
went
so
10
long
years
to do anything.
to become Superman.
Yeah,
right.
and they barely did it at the end. And he always seemed reluctant to do it. So I think it's kind of like, this is what this version would want.
Yeah, right.
It's not what every version would want, or maybe, depending.
Yeah.
But I think it's a really kind of fitting send-off.
Yeah. I feel like the end of the comic book Smallville, there was some multiverse stuff, but this version of Superman doesn't know what the multiverse situation is.
Okay.
Maybe he's faking it. I don't know.
Yeah, he could
Or
be.
maybe it's just they...
He just seems very not fussed by...
It seems not fast, and I feel
like a guy steps out of a portal and he's like, whatever.
Because I think the writers of this crossover have said they've read the comic book Smallville, the continuation of the TV series, so you'd think they'd know. So maybe it's just a...
I think a lot of... Because he just seems bemused and he's kind of playing dumb. And
right.
Because I think I yelled about how, of course, they got to put him in the suit because they haven't really done it properly. But I think this is better.
Yeah, me too.
I think they did a really good job.
What's interesting to me is there is a vast disparity in the sizes of the various Supermen
Sure.
that they don't even try to hide with any kind of
Are you talking about the Tyler
trick angles or anything.
Yeah.
Tyler Hoechlin, who plays the Supergirl Superman, he's very Superman. Having watched most of the episodes with him in it, he's very Superman. He's very charming. He's very kind of comic book Superman. To me, he's one of the most accurate comic book Superman. But he is quite small compared to say, there's a scene where he fights Brandon Routh Superman because Brandon Routh Superman is magicked into evil by a magic book, and they fight, and he is a foot taller.
Yeah. Well, it says here he's 183 centimeters.
Yes.
When Superman's like 6'4", maybe?
He's 6'4".
Yeah, so he's... Yeah, and Brandon Routh is like at least 6'2".
Yeah, right.
So, yeah. Yeah, they don't... I mean, different universes,
Well, that's
man.
true, but
I think they just cast him for Supergirl, not thinking that...
Yeah, right.
that
this would ever happen.
And he's getting his own show now and everything and whatever.
Is he really?
I think he is. Yeah, I think they're doing a
That's
spin-off.
new information, but I like that a lot.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they are.
Maybe we'll get a good Superman.
Yeah.
Not that Brandon Routh... little preview, we did watch Superman Returns this week.
Yeah, new Superman and Lois TV series flying to the CW. So.
Brandon Routh is a dead-on Christopher Reeve.
Yeah.
I don't love the movie, but there
We'll
you go.
talk about it.
I have a renewed appreciation for that movie in some aspects.
And I liked it less.
Yeah, of course.
But we'll get into it.
Other thoughts about... I do quite like Crisis generally, but it is... I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of set pieces where people charge onto the scene and they're like, "Who's this lightning guy?" And then he's like, the name's Black Lightning. Now let's fight for a second because that's what comic book characters do."
Because this is a video game cutscene.
And then they zap each other, and then it's like, "Hey guys, let's not fight because it's time to be cool and save the universe." And everybody's like, "Good point. Let's all team up." It is cool. Again, I like it's the comic books come to life.
Yeah.
Whether you
or the cutscenes from Injustice
come to life, exactly. What did you think about? Okay,
I haven't watched all of it.
Okay, right. Yeah. So a couple of thoughts would be the Brandon Routh Superman. Is the Brandon Routh Superman Returns Superman and the Christopher Reeve Superman? Is he because this?
Yes and no.
He's wearing. You know where I'm going with this. He's wearing what is essentially the Kingdom Come Superman suit, which is the black and red S.
Yeah.
But he seems to be in a universe where Kingdom Come hasn't happened yet.
No. Well, he wears it because...
But Lois is dead.
Yes.
Right?
And everybody else.
Yeah.
And because he says he wears it because even the hope still shines through even in black.
Yeah, right.
Okay. He has that explanation.
Yeah.
But he also mentions that Superman 3... He mentions...
Do you remember the movie Superman 3?
And Superman Returns disregards Superman 3 and 4.
Yeah, right.
So he's kind of... He's technically the Christopher Reeve version.
Yeah, right.
And which is the Routh version.
Unless Superman 3 and 4 happened after Superman Returns.
That's very possible.
Right?
Yeah.
Also, where's his kid?
Well, yeah, he mentions him, doesn't he?
Oh, he does, okay.
I think he does, yeah.
Carry on then.
Yeah.
Loophole closed.
Loophole closed.
Final thing, did you see any of Kevin Conroy's performance as Batman?
No.
Okay, right. Maybe we'll save it for another week.
Okay.
I mean, he sounds like Superman.
Does he look like... He sounds like Superman. Well, he's really fucked it
up. Sorry.
Then,
no.
He blew it! The one thing he could do!
All right. He sounds like Batman. Is
Okay.
what I'm going with that.
But he doesn't look like him?
Well, look, spoilers for... Do you want to
I don't care.
Okay, well, basically, this isn't
Because he's wearing the Kingdom Come kind of brace.
Yeah, kind of. But this isn't. I don't think this is Kingdom Come Batman. This is a different version. Like I don't think they've never had the guts to put Batman on TV.
Weak.
Like comic book Batman or really any. But this is a version that I don't think it's Kingdom Come Batman. It's a Batman that started killing people because that was so it's not Batman Beyond Batman either.
Okay.
Which a lot of people suspected it would be. It's a version of Batman where crime, like he's clearly been broken down and crime fighting the normal way has eluded him, and now he's just started he killed a few people and now he's just killing people all the time. So he and Batwoman have this kind of altercation. Him, Batwoman, and Supergirl have this altercation, and they're like, and he's like, "Get out of my house," kind of thing, you know?
Get out of my bat house.
Well, I mean, Batwoman beats him up, and then they.
Oh, okay,
Then they leave his house. So
I love it.
So he's just a cameo. He's not part of the team of heroes. It's
okay, right.
Probably. Because I don't know the finale yet.
We'll probably get some stuff.
Yeah,
coming
exactly.
back together in the end. Anyway, it wraps up next year as well.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's the show, Mason. Do you want to drive us home?
Thank you, everybody, for listening.
Get
out of the way.
Wave out the windows.
No, get out of the way. We're in a real universe where we can't just drive willy-nilly through the streets. Thank you, everybody, for listening and subscribing and telling a friend.
Yeah, man.
And giving us a nice review. James, do you have a nice review?
You know I do. This is from
You
Tom.
always have one ready to go.
I'd like to be prepared.
If you were me, I'd be like, you have one ready to go. I'd be like, oh, my computer's not working.
That's from
out of the room.
Tommy Figs. It says, great mates. Says, I'm not normally a podcast guy at all, but these guys are hilarious and always entertaining. It's not also nice that they're generally positive about movies, even bad ones. So many other reviewers I've come across on YouTube can be negative and don't even seem as if they like movies. These guys love movies, and it shows. I don't feel like that's always true, but that's very kind of you to say. We try to be... so you can just review in-app, whatever your app may be. If it's a Spotify, it's probably got a thing. Give us a 5 stars if you want it. It can be as short as this. This is from CBizNob. It says engaging podcast, 5 stars. Engaging podcast that is also responsible for a couple getting engaged once. So true.
That is true.
So it could be anything helps at all. If you could do that, we would love that. Yeah.
Yes.
Do the rest of it, Mason.
Oh, my goodness. If you'd like to get in contact with us, you can go to Weekly Planet Pod at Facebook, at Gmail, at Twitter, at Bandcamp. James is flexing. I don't know why. I don't know who he's trying to impress.
You.
Oh, then it's worked. Nice guns.
Thanks, man.
No problem. You can also, we've got all the commentaries on the Bandcamp.
We do.
You can buy our USB tape.
Yeah.
There'll be a link in the episode description if you want to buy that for a Christmas present for somebody or a New Year's present, because maybe it won't make it in time for Christmas.
It might, though.
Might do.
It's pretty quick,
Give
yeah.
it a whirl. Yeah, exactly. If you'd like to support the show, you can go to patreon.com/Mr. Sunday Movies if you'd like to chuck in a buck.
Chuck us a buck.
If you'd like to go to the Amazon affiliate link in our episode description, you can click through on there and buy
Chuck
some
us a buck.
stuff. That would be very much appreciated. Jumanji. It's Danny DeVito's head on one side. It's The Rock's head on the other side. It's a DVD box set.
They're somehow the same size heads.
They're the same size heads.
Rock has a little head.
Does he?
Danny DeVito, big head. On his body.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's probably true. You can also go to planetbroadcasting.com. You can sign up to our great newsletter from the great Rob Collings. You can go to the Planet Broadcasting Great Mates Facebook group for fun civil discussion, all kinds of pop culture and podcast topics. I am Wikipedia Brown on Twitter, and I'm Nick Maso, NickMaseeau on Instagram. You're Mr. Sunday Movies everywhere, right?
Correct. I'm everywhere and anywhere.
Oh, my goodness.
This week, I'm not going to do a Star Wars review, but we'll have Star Wars stuff up this week, won't we?
Probably have some
I've
Star
stopped
Wars
doing
stuff.
movie reviews. I kind of thought about doing a movie review, because I've stopped doing it, but I'm like, I've reviewed all this new Star Wars ones. I should do this one, but I'm just not going to.
Wow.
I want to save it for this.
What if it blows your mind?
Then I'll save it for this.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Because I like sitting on my opinions for longer.
Okay, but what if it blows your mind and then your explanation of that to me blows my mind? You know?
That's actually a good point. I will do a review. I'll start it right now. The year was 1977.
We've got some T-shirts on tpublic.com. Just search for The Weekly Planet. Thank you to The Brute and The Basilisk and Rack and for all our musical themes.
Yeah.
That's the whole show, I reckon.
Next week, Star Wars.
Star Wars!
Send your thoughts in.
Star Wars forever!
I'm really curious as to what people think of what this is going to be like.
But to be clear, don't send us any thoughts until we have said that we've seen the movie.
Correct.
Because we don't want to hear about them beforehand.
For me, it'll be Wednesday here this time.
For me, it'll be a
Wednesday
different
night.
time.
It'll be a different, hopefully the next day.
The next day.
But I think in most parts of the world, it's like later in the week. So
yeah, right.
it might be all right. Anyway, see you guys at a different time.
Grab that Jimmy, guys. We'll see you next week.
Goodbye. This podcast is part of the Planet Broadcasting Network.
Visit planetbroadcasting.com for more podcasts from our great mates.
I mean, if you want.